Hello, everybody. Chicago Hockey Radio. It is Wednesday. The Florida Panthers are Stanley Cup champions. And if you haven't noticed, things look a little bit different in here. First of all, let's have a quick round of applause. Welcome Natalie Chibi to Chicago Hockey Radio. Welcome to the crew.
Thank you guys for having me.
Of course.
Yeah, hi everyone. Very new environment for me. First time talking exclusively sports. Talked music for a couple of years over at a different radio station, but I'm really excited to be here and talking my favorite sport with other people who love it just as much as I do.
Hell yeah.
Have you ever done anything like this in a room this hot before?
Yeah, we were steaming in here.
Actually, yes. First of all, I want to give a big shout out to my alma mater, St. Xavier University, WXAV Radio. Place to be. But in the summer, it also gets very hot. I had my fair share of production shifts for a independent minor league baseball team. And I had to beg housekeeping to put a fan in there, and I didn't get it until the season was pretty much over. So yes.
So you're prepared for this.
Oh, of course.
You're ready for this moment.
Yeah.
That's good to know. That's
Good experience to have for this. Yeah.
So Natalie is joining us. Between now and the end of the season, it's going to be a little different. She also works for the Chicago White Sox. She also works for the AUSL Pro Softball League, which is very cool. But by the time next season rolls around, she's going to be with us full time. So she will be on the show, but she's going to be producing. She's going to be like doing notes and getting clips and like just really being like a glue guy. As far
I
as
have to do the notes
goes.
and clips anymore?
No.
Yes.
Yes.
Let's go. Thank you.
Yes. So we're super pumped to have you. And also, for those who remember, we did bring Andrew Nolan into the fold. Today is day 2 for Andrew Nolan. And we also, thank you to Raven, have a producer cam in the corner of this here podcast.
Really?
So we get a look at Andrew and Raven too. So
Can't believe they put me on the mic.
We will be talking about the Stanley Cup final. Sorry,
Move to
Andrew,
your
I can't hear you.
left.
But yeah, we're gonna talk about the Panthers. We're gonna I'm gonna sort of back off a little bit. I wanted to do the intro. I wanted to welcome everybody to the fray here, and then we're gonna chop it up. Panthers are Cup champs, back to back. So
yeah,
where do you guys want to start?
we should probably start there, right? Yeah.
I'll start with asking Andrew and Natalie what they thought of the Cup final. Who did you guys have going into the Cup final? And what did you make of this, what ended up being a dominant performance from the Florida Panthers in several games throughout this series?
All right, yeah, I'll start. Pre-series, I had Edmonton 7. I thought there was going to be, just some of... Yeah, exactly.
Me too. I'm with you on that one.
Yeah, I think the loss of Zach Hyman was very huge for the Oilers team. I don't think that gets talked about enough. Because he would have, tried to neutralize Marchand, try to neutralize Kachuk and all these, Stan Bennett. But, I mean, honestly, it was utter domination from Florida this series. You had so many of those leads that Edmonton just could not come back from.
Natalie, what about you?
Yeah, as much as I wanted to say Edmonton was going to take this series, I kind of knew from the moment that this matchup was announced that Florida was definitely going to win again. I did not like that they won last year. I did not like that they won this year. However, part of me did have hope for Edmonton. I thought that after last season, things were going to change. And they did in a sense, but not enough. I just think Sergei Bobrovsky is him. Honestly, like that man is a brick wall. He cannot be stopped. And if Edmonton had a goaltender that was as dominant, I feel they would have done a lot. And the same thing, the loss of Hyman was detrimental in my opinion. I got so mad. I looked at it and I was like, yeah, the season's over for Edmonton. It's devastating. Connor McDavid, I'm sorry. Leon Draisaitl, I'm sorry. But yeah, I had a game last night for the White Sox, so I couldn't watch much of it. But I was honestly very happy that I didn't because I knew what was coming. So congratulations, Florida, yet again.
Yeah, it's good to have another fellow White Sox fan in here, by the way. All these Cubs people drive me crazy.
Yeah. I'm not a true Cubs fan. I'm just buying stock now.
As you should. PCA worth it.
Yeah, PCA's got me on my feet. Something that was irritating me yesterday, and I saw some people in chat saying this, and I've also been seeing it online. People acting like or asking the question, oh, is this like the end of the window for the Edmonton Oilers? Like, oh, if they couldn't do it this year, are they? I think that is the most absurd take.
Definitely.
Just because it's like, I didn't think this team had it this year. Like, if you just look at this roster and heading into the postseason against LA, they had no Ekholm too. It was just like, they're not going to win this year. Like, even if they find a way to get past the first round, it was never like they were going to go all like that was how I felt about them, at least early on. And because of Leon Draisaitl and Connor McDavid's greatness, they were able to get there. And so I don't see why they wouldn't be able to do this every year, every other year.
And it's absolutely asinine. And the narratives that we're going to see coming out here, putting this in 97-29, like they're the whole reason they even made it this far to begin with. 66 points combined, both had 33 points, and some are putting us on them. They are the team. They are the Edmonton Oilers. So I don't want to see this, it's been 10 years, they haven't won it.
Are people putting it on them?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
People are doing that?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you read a text last night on stream that somebody that we don't, I don't know, one of your buddies or something, said that don't ever compare McDavid and Draisaitl to Crosby and Malkin. And I'm like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, here we go.
We did have the discussion. I mean, we could get into like a bigger picture kind of Edmonton.
Yeah, what they need to do.
Here.
Yeah.
We do have the clip from Connor McDavid ready to go. I think at some point here,
He
but
does
we can hold off on it.
for that clip.
But it is an interesting listen. And I think, we could talk a little bit about just what it is with the Oilers, because I think we all deduced that they are not very good, and Connor McDavid is eligible to sign an extension on July 1st, and Evan Bouchard also needs a new deal. Like, this is going to be very difficult for Stan Bowman very quickly.
He's going to find a way to fumble it. He's going to find a way to screw it up.
Sam Bowman has a ton of pressure, but honestly, the problem here is that, like, I could see Stan Bowman saying, okay, they've gone back to back now. They've come up short, but it's like maybe you feel as though you don't need to make big changes or bring in like.
But look at the scoring leaders. Like, look at the ages on these guys. Like, Perry's 40, and Kane is old and ineffective, and Ekholm is only getting older.
I think they need to reshuffle the deck. They need almost completely. Like, I think they need another top 6 forward. I think they need a couple of like more solid depth forwards. I don't think Matthias Ekholm and Evan Bouchard is a good enough first pair.
I think they need another stud up there too, right? Like 97-29, there's a massive drop off after that. They need another stud up there, especially in the wing, that they can play with these guys. Not Matthias Janmark, Connor Brown, etc. Like, they just don't have the facilities for that.
But I guess back to the first thing we were talking about, Tassos, is like, I am gonna be so annoyed if people start like making conclusions about Connor McDavid's legacy because he's lost back-to-back cups. It's like, no, he took this team playing with a completely injured Ryan Nugent-Hopkins and a 40-year-old Corey Perry on his line, and he took him to this Game 6 of another Stanley Cup final. It's like, these guys are bums on this team, and we're like, oh my gosh, man, McDavid might not be this great. It's like, no, this Florida Panthers team is arguably a top 10 team ever assembled, and we just watched them lose to them again, and we're like, oh my gosh, it's on 97 and 29.
This is the NBA, man. This is the NHL.
I don't think anybody is really calling, true people that know what's going on and aren't really calling into question the greatness of 97 and 29. I think now what I am trying to post to you guys to see what you think about, like, does Connor McDavid believe that they're going to be a better hockey team, and what does that mean for contract negotiations this summer? And do you go into next season with Connor McDavid not having signed an extension? Like, I
don't really see that as a worry. McDavid just strikes me as such a loyal guy. I don't see him leaving Edmonton. I mean, you never know. Crazier things have happened, right? But I don't think he's going anywhere. You're going to see a lot of narratives around that. But I think if they're going to pay him what he wants, and he's going to stay put. Yeah.
People were talking about that last night. Like, oh, McDavid doesn't think this team can win it. Man, you think Leon Draisaitl signing that big ass contract if McDavid isn't like, yeah,
He's
I'm
not
also
leaving
gonna stay
Leon.
here. They're best friends. He's not gonna leave. I said this on the stream last night. I think it would be bad for Connor McDavid's legacy if he left Edmonton to go win somewhere else, because it's like, this is the team that drafted you.
Yeah. Although to be fair, I think the Oilers owe McDavid more than McDavid owes them at this rate.
No, for sure,
Yeah.
for sure. But that's just like,
I see your point.
It's Connor McDavid. Like everything we know about this guy and his personality, like him jumping ship. You just got to the Cup final back-to-back years. Like, I don't think he's going to jump ship. Like, I think that's absurd. I think, look, you get that contract figured out. He's going to take whatever he takes.
Like?
Who knows?
$20 million?
Maybe. I mean, it could be $1 billion, because I mean, he's worth every cent imaginable. But maybe he takes something relatively close to Leon Draisaitl, and once you get that out of the way, you're kind of like, all right, we know what we got to do. I'm looking at the books right now for this Oilers team. They don't really have a whole lot of people with term. It's like they've got Ryan Nugent-Hopkins for like 3 more years. They've got Zach Hyman for 2 more years. And then other than that, Matthias Janmark is the only other guy in the forward group that has another year left. So it's like they'll have a fresh slate this summer to like go and attack. And if, maybe you bring back some of these guys, but it's like Corey Perry, Jeff Skinner, Connor Brown, Kasperi Kapanen, and Trent Frederick are all unrestricted free agents this summer. So I think you got to go back to the drawing board and figure something out. But I don't think McDavid's going to leave.
Well, I think a big thing that they need to address is the goaltending, right? Mike Bowman at the trade deadline was asked, about that, and he thought they didn't need to address that. Thought Skinner was the guy. I think they're seeing, nope, he is not that guy, pal. He's not that guy. And I think the Pickard effect kind of wore off there as well. So they need a true starting goaltender, which they really haven't had. I think Mike Smith has probably been McDavid's best starting goalie during that tenure. So that's a bit of an issue there, and hasn't really had a true number 1 defenseman as well. I know Bouchard puts up the totals, but as we saw last game and many times throughout these playoffs, the man can't exactly defend. So, got to work on the defense and get a true starting goaltender as well. There's a lot of fixes here, I guess. Yeah.
Can we play the McDavid clip?
Oh, yeah, let's hear it.
Let's hear it.
Absolutely. Let's get the McDavid clip up.
Lost to a really good team. Nobody quit. Nobody threw the towel in. They're a heck of a team. The Stanley Cup champions back-to-back for a reason.
What's the difference in the series?
Obviously their forecheck was great. They tilted the rink. They were able to kind of stay on top of us all over the place. Never really able to generate any momentum up the ice. We kept trying the same thing over and over again, just banging our heads against the wall. So credit to them. They played well.
You guys played a pretty good first period, 2 mistakes and something in the back of them. I guess, is that the way you kind of play mistake you're talking about?
Yeah, we kept on saying we want to try to win a 2-1 game. Never found a way to do that, obviously. They got great players. How many guys had 20-plus points in their postseason? They're as deep as it comes. 2 mistakes. You're right. I thought we played a pretty good period, 2 mistakes, and chasing again.
Connor, you came into the playoffs with a lot of confidence and belief in this group. What's the takeaway here with the group and how far you did?
Still a lot of confidence and belief. I don't think people thought we were going to make it this far. We obviously believed. Came up just a bit short again.
Every group is different. What do you remember about this group?
We became together at the right time, I would say. A lot of difficult circumstances coming down the stretch, and injuries, and guys fighting through things, and guys just coming. We just found a way to get here. Obviously didn't find a way to get enough, but credit to a lot of guys.
You look at the core of this team. You feel you're going to get a few more kicks of this can here. It's the way that the core of the guys you have on this team.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, sure.
The game you had was strong enough to go through the West pretty well, right? You beat good teams out there, and you beat them in that game. When it comes up against Florida, and you couldn't solve Florida. What should we think about a Florida team that's that much better than the opponents you face game?
They're a really good team. I said it many times already. Very deserving. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what else to tell you. They were really good. No? Yeah? You don't think?
Have you seen anything specific from your teammates after the game?
Nothing to say. Nothing to say, really. You know, obviously everyone's disappointed.
It's the longest clip of all time. It just kept going.
I was thinking to myself, bit of a wordy
Wow.
clip here.
Yeah.
I think a couple of the most significant parts of that clip, just him saying that we were just bashing our head against the wall, trying to do the same thing
Definition of
over and
insanity.
over again. That's obviously frustration with the way they were playing, but also like what the approach was to these games a little bit, maybe. I don't know what that means for Chris Knobloch. I don't know if that's like, you know, a shot at the, you know, the game plan, or if it was just like we just kept trying and trying. And
He did seem to praise Florida's depth quite a bit. I did notice that. A lot of guys with 20-plus points on that team. Yeah, I don't know if that was maybe a little bit of a, you know, shot there. Maybe we need to bring in some more studs here. Yeah, I don't know. McDavid calling the shots there. Yeah.
Yeah, I think if you're Stan Bowman, you should
Listen to that man.
You should see how this Stanley Cup final went. And you shouldn't need Connor McDavid to tell you that you need more pieces on this team.
I also think they were kind of missing some of those young studs. They just kind of left go of the offer sheet situation there. I think they could have used maybe the Holloways and Broberg, especially you see this core, a lot of aging guys that aren't going to be on the squad. I think those guys could have been helpful for the future of this team, but Bowman thought otherwise. Yeah.
I don't know, man. It sucks to hear him just like miserable.
Yeah.
But also, part of me, the hater in me, is like, damn, dude, how long am I gonna watch
Praying
him
at Stan
go
Bowman's
without
downfall.
without winning a
Yeah.
Stanley Cup?
He's gonna have his time, but look, it's been a decade now, man, and
It's
I think
crazy.
there's gonna be we've already seen it. The talk's gonna start to really ramp up here. So, but look, it takes some guys a long time. Look at Ovechkin. So, he's gonna have his time. Like he still has. He's in the prime of his career. Yeah, he's going to get a cup at some point. It's inevitable, but I did really think this was going to be the time. I thought, no way this team loses, Panthers back-to-back, and wrong.
Yeah, I don't know what they're going to do this summer, and I guess we probably in a sec here should start talking about the actual game. But, dude, I just this is a perfect, as I mentioned, like so many of these guys are UFAs this season. Like they have the opportunity to really reshuffle the deck here, and I think they really have to, because you cannot have Kasperi Kapanen getting healthy scratched and then coming in and playing on the second line with Evander Kane and Leon Draisaitl. It's just not good. You're not going to win a Stanley Cup with.
Yeah, just look at the flanks, man. McDavid had injured news, and Unk Corey Perry in the year 2025, the 40-year-old in the top line, and then Dries got Vegas man Evander Kane, and then Kasperi Kapanen. Like that's just not good enough. Yeah.
It's not, and it probably will only get harder. I'd imagine maybe to continue to like expand the depth on this team, especially it's completely dependent, I guess, on what that McDavid and what that Bouchard ticket looks like. But I don't think Bouchard's going to make less than Darnell Nurse, and Darnell Nurse is making 9.25. So they're gonna obviously have to give these big tickets to those two. And then, I don't know, go back to the drawing board with the rest and try to moneyball a little bit, right? Like, you can't, because you don't think that the solution is, like, not signing Bouchard, right? Or is it? It might be.
Can I give a hot take?
Yeah, please.
He's not that guy.
Please.
Can I give a hot take?
Yeah.
They're going to trade Evan Bouchard this summer.
You think so?
They're going to trade him. I think you have to.
I think you should.
I think you absolutely
Do you think Stan
have
Bowman's
to.
going to do that, though?
Look, if it were me, I would move Evan Bouchard, and I wouldn't be surprised if Connor McDavid walked into Stan Bowman's office and offered the same bit of advice to move on from this guy. If the commitment is $10 million, I understand the shot from the point, even though I think he views it as a bigger weapon than it is.
It's kind of his whole game.
It's kind of
and then
his
to get
whole
secondary
game.
assists, the power play from
And
McDry.
I also don't think that bomb from the point. Sorry to cut you off.
No,
I don't
you're
think
good.
that bomb from the point would be nearly as effective if he didn't have McDavid cooking on the left side and Draisaitl set up for that. What
it's
is
a
the
good
best
shot.
one
It's a
timer on the
great
right
shot.
side?
He is a great, he probably has one of, if not the best shots from the point in the NHL.
Yeah.
That's no. I'm
It's-
not trying to take that away
yeah.
from him. I understand that the power play, the numbers look better but you're telling me you don't get a different kind of power play quarterback. Maybe it's not Evan Bouchard, but it's, the Panthers had Seth Jones and Aaron Ekblad on the flank because Jones was at the point, and Seth Jones isn't the best power play quarterback in the world. He's pretty good at it, but he's not an Evan Bouchard level of threat from the point to shoot it, right?
He's also not as good of a passer as Evan Bouchard.
Yeah, we've seen that, right? Legs looking off guys.
But even still, like, you're not going to get, if the number for Evan Bouchard is $11 million, like, I would rather have, like, this is an Edmonton team that was too top heavy.
Yeah.
Like, you need to spread the wealth, right? Like, it's kind of like the Maple Leafs a little bit. Like, it's just that
if Evan Bouchard's making $10+ million, good luck.
You got to ship him out the door.
Yeah. See ya.
You gotta figure something else out.
Yeah.
And
it was reported last night from Ryan Rashog talking about the potential Evan Bouchard contract. He thinks it will get done at 8 years, $88 million total. So that's $11 million.
Oh my gosh.
I don't think you pay that to Evan Bouchard.
Who's gonna make
Ryan
more than
Rashog.
Prime King
Ryan
case?
Rashog.
Yes.
Ryan Rashog.
Wow, that's
wow.
I don't because this team needs like a true top 4 defense core, and they just don't. I'm sorry, Matthias Ekholm, Darnell Nurse, and Bouchard, and Brett Kulak is not.
And they got the gritty man,
to
Jake
win a Stanley
Wallman.
Cup.
I mean, it's not going to get the job done. Yeah.
So we probably should talk about the Florida Panthers here at some point, back-to-back Stanley Cup champions. We do have the Draisaitl clip. It was being asked for in the chat.
What do you remember about this group, Leon? You guys really
yeah, we battled, but we're not leaving here as winners. So, yeah.
You say they defend well. It was tough for you guys to go close to the net. It seems like it was like that, at least for the last 2 games. Do you feel that way?
Yeah, they box out well, defend well.
Does it hurt more a second time?
Always hurts. It's, yeah, I don't know. It's not more or less. It's just the same.
What do you remember?
I like that clip. More to the point.
Yeah. And there's just nothing Leon Draisaitl would rather do than talk to the media after losing his
Is there
second.
a player that NHL who hates talking to the media more than Leon Draisaitl? Always has the best interviews.
Yeah.
You gotta feel for him too. Like all the narratives gonna be on McDavid, but what about Draisaitl, man? Like he played just as well, if not even more clutch, especially in this Cup final, and just gotta feel for that guy. Yeah.
Man, I just German people are also among the most blunt people in the world.
Yes.
They're
That's
not
a culture
quite at the
thing.
level of Dutch people, but they're pretty close as far as
Oh, you can't beat the
bluntness.
Dutch. Ask Max Verstappen. Yeah.
He's like, they're like, what are you going to remember about this? He's like, that we're losers, that we
Exactly.
lost,
Yeah.
that we're not winners. So I thought that was.
They're not going to ramble on and
Very
give you
Leon.
some philosophical answer here. They're going to get straight to the point. I like that. Yeah, very blunt. Yeah.
Okay. Is that good for Oiler talk?
I think we gotta get the Panthers their due
we
here,
have
right?
to.
We've just been slandering the Oilers all show so far. What about the champs? What about the champs?
Yeah. I mean, the Matthew Tkachuk obviously breaking his injury last night to the media.
You called it, Lee.
It was a torn adductor muscle. Is that what it's called?
Yeah, no doctors in here.
Nice. Yeah. And he said it was ripped off the bone, which is like an important muscle in your groin connecting the rest of your leg. And he was also going through a sports hernia on the exact same side. So a lot of pain and yeah, I can't believe he was ready
able to
for
play
that
through
first
that.
game.
Unreal. And he was a point per game, man. Like what, 8 goals, 16 assists or something? He did his job.
Also, I noticed whoever was doing the reporting for the Sportsnet crew or the Canada broadcast got the interview first, and they asked him what the injury was, and he said, "I'm just going to enjoy it tonight. I'm not going to like give that up." And then Darren Pang interviews him like 2 minutes later for TNT, and he's like, he tells him exactly what the
That's the
injury was.
Darren Pang effect. His aura got him to get the answer out of him.
I also think maybe that's Matthew Tkachuk trying to give it to the American broadcast instead of the Canadian broadcast.
love that guy.
Maybe I'm reading way too much into that, but
they're
that
a
is how
master
it
troll.
went.
Do you see the song they're playing in the elbow room the other day, or was it in their locker room? They love the troll over there in Florida.
Yeah. What a wagon of a team. I mean, completely deserved. I felt like they really dominated this Oilers team. honestly, more so than that Leafs team, which is crazy.
How did the Toronto Maple Leafs put up a better fight against this Panthers team than the Oil? That's crazy. They took them to 7. They actually might have to run it back. I don't know. Maybe the 10th year will be the charm for that core 4. Yeah, I don't know.
It'll be really interesting to see what Florida ends up doing. Obviously, you got the big free agents this summer for them are Sam Bennett and Aaron Ekblad
and Marchand as well. Yeah.
Yeah, but and so I would imagine Marchand's not going to stay just because, I mean...
Most likely leave, rental, yeah.
You compare what Brad Marchand has made in his career to maybe some of his peers who are like the same level and same age, and he's probably made significantly less because he's been on really team-friendly deals in Boston his entire career. So I would imagine, especially after the Cup final performance he had, he's going to go out and chase the bag.
Yeah, whoever gives him the most money. Bennett was chanting 8 more years at the crowd last night, so I don't know. He might be staying, or maybe that's leverage. I don't know.
I think Sam Bennett's going to stay. I'd be absolutely shocked if he leaves because I do think that they could squeeze him in at maybe they give him somewhere around 8.
Yeah, so he probably could make 9 to 10 open market, but how about just take a $1 million, $2 million discount and stay in this team that your identity has worked so well with? That's really translated his game. How 15 goals in these playoffs, absolute dog in the playoffs, and he's just been perfect for that squad. Yeah.
And the state tax, if he leaves and goes somewhere else,
you're not going to make that much more.
A couple more $1 million. It's the difference is going to be so minuscule. Where it's like you're already here, you've lived here for a few years now, you've won back-to-back cups.
Here comes that Florida taxes argument.
Would you leave?
Sam Bennett? No, absolutely
no. It's a no-brainer.
It's just, here's the thing. The money is not that much worth the happiness there, right? Like if if the Toronto Maple Leafs offer Sam Bennett 7 times 10.5 and the Panthers offer you 8 by 8, after taxes, that, the money is we're only talking $5-6 million of a difference more. It's not really $20 million of a difference in a deal for Sam Bennett, right? So it's only going to be, it'll be smaller than that. So not worth it for happiness, if you ask me, in my opinion.
Guys, we haven't even addressed the elephant in the room yet. Yesterday was a very historical day for the game of hockey. Seth Jones is a Stanley Cup champion.
Yeah, jeez, man.
How about that? I think we're all feeling really happy for him, right? Yeah.
Natalie, what are your thoughts on Seth Jones and the way he departed the Blackhawks, and how did you feel about seeing him lift Lord Stanley last night?
So fun fact, I actually didn't watch him lift
yeah,
Lord Stanley, and I never will. Somebody sent me a picture, and I immediately blocked them. Okay, so listen, here's my thing about Seth Jones. He is such a sad excuse for an alternate captain. Because tell me why. I mean, when he parted, it was totally selfish, right? Me personally, I feel like he intentionally didn't play as good as he probably could just so he could leave the Blackhawks and go to a team. Now, if there's anybody who deserves to go to a team that's actually considered a cup contending team, it's Patrick Kane. But no, Seth Jones ended up going right to the team that won the Stanley Cup. If he was a little more, I'm going to get traded, you guys were great to play with. He didn't help in any single way at all. And I think it's because he was mad that he was on a team that sucked. And instead of embracing that and helping them get better, he was just hey, I'm shipping out. See y'all later. Screw Chicago, whatever. If he wasn't like that, I would be a little bit more happy and willing to celebrate the fact that he won, because honestly, it is a great feat to join a team that won the Stanley Cup. But just because of the way he talked about everything and the way that he departed us, I cannot stand it. And people are like, oh yeah, Seth Jones really proved you wrong. No, he was on a team that proved everybody wrong. He contributed in a way, but not in a miraculous way. And personally, I don't think we're going to see him on an Olympic roster. We might. If we do, then good for him. But I don't know. And I really wish he parted a little better with the Blackhawks, because then I could feel happy for him. But no, not my cup of tea.
Yeah, I mean,
cool. That's got to be our clip today. Absolute masterclass.
I do think that yeah, he forced Kyle Davidson's hand a little bit, and of course, like the comments weren't great to hear, you know, when as he was leaving, like he was clearly
kind of slandering this club.
He did clear it was the easy route. Like, let's call it what it is. Like, it was the easy route.
He was trying to force a trade.
He signed this contract here, maybe at a time where he thought maybe the Blackhawks were still going to make a push at things with, you know, Kane and DeBrincat and co. Which I still don't know if you see that roster in your Seth Jones, and they're offering me $9.5 million. Maybe he should have put 2 and 2 together. That team probably wasn't going to be a contender for very long. But still, like, there is the light at the end of the tunnel here with this rebuild, and he didn't want to stick around for it. I understand that he's getting older, but that I agree with you. Like, that is kind of what he did. Like, he was impatient, and he took the easy way out. However, I will say that I do think it ended up being a really good acquisition for the Florida Panthers.
It worked out. It worked out great for both sides.
I was about to say, definitely.
Yeah.
Spencer Knight, man, the man that you are. I am very, very excited to see where he will kind of lead us into next season. I mean, Peter Mrazek and Arvid Soderblom were very interesting to watch over the last couple of years.
Yeah.
Arvid, what happened? Like, you got good. You proved me wrong.
Yeah,
I was like, if you had asked me at the beginning of last season, who would you rather trade, Soderblom or Mrazek, I would have told you Soderblom. But I mean, he proved me wrong. I got to give credit where credit is due when you're not Seth Jones. So, Arvid, good job, my man. Spencer, wait.
Whoa, what's going on right now?
Fire me up, Brett!
Fire me up,
That's on me. That's on me. Hey, first time producing the show, you're gonna have a little bit of mistake here, so I apologize. I apologize.
I don't mind throwing the intro in.
It's like that Lance Stroll meme with, like, somebody's about to make an overtake. It just cuts.
It was a misinput. It was a misinput.
It's all right. It's all right.
It's all right.
That was hilarious.
First day jitters. That was pretty funny. Maybe do a little Reinhardt talk, a little Bennett talk. I know, like, Conn Smythe winner talk, right? Like, I don't know. Did you guys?
I was close, man. I said it'd be Marchand. The votes were 76 for Bennett, 68 for Marchand. I was so close. Lee narrowly edges me once again. He got everything right. I got everything wrong. All hail Mr. Grossman.
Good job.
Yesterday was a good day for me. I was so due to have a good day on the sports book, just because of how bad the unders had been going for the start of this run. But yes, Sam Bennett, Conn Smythe winner. For me, that was the guy who was leading this team, honestly, the entire run. I know that Marchand had the better Stanley Cup appearance. What was it, 6 goals in 6 games? I understand that, but I think just watching this entire Florida run, for me, it was Sam Bennett. I know Matthew Tkachuk had, like, just as many points, if not a little more. I think a lot of that had to do with playing right next to Sam Bennett, who scored 15 goals this postseason. Like, I think you're going to rack up assists when your line mate that you're stapled to scores 15 goals in whatever 23 games. But yeah, for me, it was always Sam Bennett. And yeah, it's so crazy that just Sam Bennett is a Conn Smythe winner.
I know. Would you imagine this, man? Like, there's just so many good stories in this Florida team of career turnarounds. That's what Bill Zito has been able to do. And just the fact that you can make an argument for, like, 8 guys in this team to win the Conn Smythe. I agree with you. Bennett was definitely the favorite, but it's like, look at Matthew Tkachuk. Point per game playing through injury. Reinhardt, 11 goals, 4-goal game last night, 23 points. Carter Verswaggy, 23 points. Sasha Barkov, 22. Brad Marchand, the legend himself, 20. Luosterainen, a third liner, 19. Lundell, third liner, 18. And what about Bob? Like, that's like, what, 9 guys right there? You could probably make a solid argument could have won the Conn Smythe. The Oilers, if they were to win, 2 guys. That's the difference.
I just think Sam Bennett is unbelievable because, you know, everyone's like, you know, he's never had, what, is 60 points the most?
51.
51 is the most points
How
he's
about
had
that?
in a regular season. But this guy is just
playoff guy.
completely a different player in the postseason. It's not like it's like some fluky, like, oh, wow, this guy always shows up in this game. He was dominant from the first series to the last. And it's like, it's a completely different guy that you see in the postseason. He's driving play. Like, when I watched him this postseason, like, that is, to me, that's a $10 million player. Like, I know he might not, like, move the needle much for you during the regular season, but, like, that's as good as it gets in the playoffs. And I just crazy that a guy like that has that big of a shift from his regular season play to the playoffs. It's absolutely outstanding.
So you're in that crowd that would rather overpay for Sam Bennett than Marner? Mitch Marner?
Yeah. If I had to overpay for one of them, I'd overpay for Sam Bennett for sure. I understand why that's maybe like an L take in a lot of people's eyes. I just like Mitch Marner. I've absolutely no faith in him. I saw a really funny clip. I forgot who it was, but he was doing some like video breakdown of Mitch Marner, and he just kept saying, "Who do you think you are?" He's like Mitch Marner, just like this a sense of, I don't know. Mitch Marner just like exudes like entitlement to me, and Sam Bennett is a 50 to 60 point guy that's just gotta have it in the postseason. And so I
fair enough.
Yeah.
I think you got to find that middle ground, right? Somebody could probably pair with Bedsy in that top line, be a number 2, but then also a dog who shows up in the offs. If you could find a middle ground between Bennett and Marner, that'd be nice. Maybe a Nikolai Ehlers, maybe. I don't know. Yeah.
Sam Bennett is a second line center on a Stanley Cup winning team.
But
know,
can he be the number 2 on the Hawks? I don't know. Yeah.
But it's not. You have to build the other pieces around.
Right,
you have to have the other pieces around him. As currently constructed, you're not going to win the Stanley Cup just by plugging in Sam Bennett in 2C.
He's not saying he's not.
No, I know he's not saying that. But
Well, no. I'm saying you're not saying that Sam Bennett is like the second best player on Florida. He's just the second line center.
Yes.
And so
Whereas I'm thinking, like,
Justin's saying like if you bring Sam Bennett to this Blackhawks,
he's got like
team,
the
he's
second best player. Yeah, that's got my man.
Yeah, and that's a problem.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. Right.
Yeah, that is, but then I think you just add more talent.
Right.
And so I think it's easier to do that when you have Sam Bennett versus when you have Mitch Marner, because you're going to be paying Mitch Marner $4 to $5 million more every single year.
Yes, but that will still be among the highest. Even if you gave Sam Bennett $10.5 million, like that's still among the highest contracts on the team when all is said and done.
Yeah. And then the day,
Like, that's a
unfortunately, I don't
top
think it's
3 or
going to
4
matter
contract.
because I think after the draft, I just have the funny feeling that Davidson's going to be hibernating in a cave all summer. So I think it might be all just kind of for naught here, but hopefully next summer maybe.
Yeah, I mean, Frank Saravalli reported on Daily Face. I mean, he's been talking about it, I feel like, for like a week every time he gets asked. But yeah, the Blackhawks are probably not going to be aggressive in free agency, but maybe in the draft, which we'll be talking about with Stephen Ellis.
Oh, yes. We'll have plenty to digest there. Yeah.
Natalie, do you have a thought on the draft before we, I think we're going to probably do a Mount Rushmore here soon and then send it to break. We got a couple more minutes, but do you, maybe you're not, sitting here grinding the OHL tape, but thoughts on the Blackhawks and the draft? Do you have one?
Honestly, just get somebody good. Get somebody good. Get somebody who we can build up and somebody who can acclimatize and acclimate to this team. It is, in my opinion, a team that is still fractured, but it is not as fractured as before. I feel like we got a lot of good stuff coming, and I really, really want to see. I just want to see something good. I don't really have a specific person that I wish they would draft. Maybe Misa, maybe him if he goes. But honestly, I just please help us, draft gods. I really, really just want to see some really good prospects. If they send them down to Rockford, they send them down to Rockford, but let them marinate there, build them up so that way when they come to us, they are ready and they are ready to go and they are ready to enter that field. Especially, we can't be under marinating guys anymore. I feel like we've been under seasoning a couple people, and it kind of shows. I just think that there needs to be a very big hit the ground running type of thing in this offseason. It might not happen in free agency, but I feel like it could happen with the draft. Mm-hmm. I feel like they could attack it if they really wanted to. So I'm trusting Davidson. I'm trusting you, Kyle. My sanity is on the line here. So please, I beg.
Trade up, get Misa. Misa!
Yes.
Like that Game of Thrones scene. Misa! That's the Mother of Dragons right there.
I think we'd all be in favor of trading up for Michael
Don't
Mason.
trade the third overall pick. Trade up. That's what I want. Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Did we want to kick it over to the
Mount Rushmore?
To Mount Rushmore?
This is the CHR Mount Rushmore of all time. Wait till you guys feast your eyes on this one.
Yeah. So I guess we will do that now. This is Chicago Hockey Radio's Mount Rushmore of Olympic sports that we think we could medal in.
Yes.
All right, everybody, welcome back. It's Mount Rushmore time. And this one has nothing to do with hockey. This is CHR presents the Mount Rushmore of Olympic sports that we could medal in.
Wow.
So current Olympic sports, they have to be either in the 2026 Winter Olympics in Italy or in the 2028 Los Angeles Summer Games.
This one upset.
This one's going to be interesting. Lee's got the first pick, followed by Justin,
followed that one.
Raven, and me.
What a shit one to have first pick into. All right. Because you also you can't just think of like actually what I think I could, because I don't actually think I could medal in.
You have to qualify.
You have to think about the competition
I know,
and all that.
But the thing is also you got to think about what are people online gonna see and be like, yeah, that's good.
Yeah, exactly. True.
But this is a shit 1-1. But I'm gonna say flag football because like I'm a fucking really good athlete. I'm pretty tall, and I think I would be a vertical threat playing against Switzerland or playing against fucking Botswana or
I see
whatever.
The vision.
Yeah.
He's got the build for it. Okay.
Yeah.
Do flag football,
like
grade
no
school
one
back
else
in the
plays.
day.
It's America's sport. No one else really plays that shit.
So you think of the competition, the competitive edge.
Yeah. Like if you
you're
plug
on
me
America's
if you
squad,
plug me on the team with Tyreek Hill and Pat
Yeah.
Mahomes, they can find a role for me.
That's fair. All right. Yeah.
Flag
Justin,
football.
to you.
Well, again, another sport that Americans should be pretty good at, and I think some of my talents, playing like Grand Theft Auto should come in handy here. So give me shooting. I'll be the Turkish guy.
Can I
Ba-boom.
Can I make a?
That's probably the 1-1 pick.
That is, but I want to know
Shooting?
what.
Yeah,
What?
I thought that was the 1-1 pick. Right off top.
What event? Are we saying like skeet shooting? Are we saying biathlon? Because
Yes.
there's a lot of other ones that we need to know.
No. You need to pick. You do need to pick one event.
That's what
Like,
I'm
there's, like, the
saying.
air
Because I could say
pistol, there's-
swimming. I could do any
Yeah,
stroke,
yeah, yeah.
but like
You
we
can't
need-
say swim. Yes, I agree. You
Yeah.
can't- so you need to pick a specific event. There's
Okay,
there's
let me check,
the
let me check.
10
there's
10
skeet
meter
shooting,
air rifle.
biathlon. You got
There's
archery.
biathlon.
You have
Well, archery is like
it's
There
still
actually
archery.
is
Archery
one
is, like,
called
not
just
shooting.
shooting. There is
Yeah,
one
that's what I
called
was looking
shooting.
at.
Oh,
Yeah, the
there
one
is
with the
one just
Turkish
called
guy
shooting.
with that
Yes.
meme last year. That one.
Yeah,
But that
Yeah.
was pistol, I think.
I think it's just shooting.
I think it is called shooting, but it's pistol shooting at a target archery style.
Okay.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
I would say
What's the one where they do clay pigeons? Where they
skeet shooting.
Skeet shooting. Okay. All right.
That. Yeah.
So just shooting.
Doing what?
Shooting. Yeah.
Okay. For our first round pick, it is only fitting that the 2-man team takes 2-man bed bobsledding.
2-man bobsled.
Yes,
You guys
sir.
watch Cool Runnings?
Yeah.
I was
It's a
thinking of that.
classic.
Can I be
film.
honest? Like, are you the two guys in there?
Yeah.
You're not meddling. You're not.
No shit.
Everybody would have to die.
No, whatever your
That's a
answer,
chance.
whatever
That's a
your
chance that
answer is
actually
about
could
to
happen.
be,
No,
I'm
watch.
Okay,
watch,
go ahead.
Watch. My two picks: hockey and basketball.
You're not meddling in hockey.
Why?
Beating
Why?
hockey. You're getting fucked up in basketball.
How many minutes did Jason?
Go against Connor
How many minutes did Jason Tatum play? in
Oh,
the
you're
Olympics?
big braining this too much.
Oh.
No, this is stupid.
So you could just be like the seventh
You're
man.
so,
or
okay,
like
so you're
the-
just whatever
Yeah.
sport you can
The
ride
13th
pine
forward.
on.
Yeah.
But
Like a
you did
scratch
say
on
at
a
the
team.
beginning of this that you have to qualify. So if you can be on the team and
You
qualify,
gotta qualify for basketball.
This is
you
like
have
a
to be on
semantics
the team.
argument. That's the stupidest
How
thing
are you
ever.
guys gonna qualify for the 2-man bobsled?
How
That's
are
why
you going to
this
make
is
it
confusing.
basketball?
this is falling apart.
Yeah, who are they going to leave home for you to sit on the bench for Team USA?
You're gonna beat
I'm just saying.
That's not what
I'm
this is
just
supposed
saying.
to be.
That I would be most likely to medal if I were on Team USA's basketball team. I'd get a medal.
You realize then flag football is even more so because there's good European countries in basketball. We'd wipe the floor with everybody in American football.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's just, I thought this was like what we see ourselves like competing in.
Well,
Like,
okay, so for the hockey, hockey is the only sport I've played. So
that's a fair
you know what
point.
I mean?
I
Like,
was
that's the only
thinking
sport
about
I've
it.
played.
That's why no one
argued with that.
Weird coincidence. No one else.
I think it'd be quicker for you to get to an Olympic level playing like squash versus playing hockey because
squash.
Squash is like the
like pick the I feel like it makes more sense to pick things that like there's like there's 500 people in the world who compete in this sport. Like if you spend 10 years on it, maybe you could I don't know. Whatever.
I don't
All right,
know.
Continue.
Fair.
I think hockey
It is
and
back to
basketball
us.
is crazy.
It is back to us. Sully and I are taking the canoe, like slalom?
Slalom?
Yeah.
Slalom?
Slalom. I don't know how to pronounce words. I just produced this podcast.
Slalom canoe.
Apparently, it's one of the least participated in events, and Hungary and Germany.
Countries dominated apparently.
So, and Sully's got the German passport, so we can just hike on that team.
Well, I don't think pickleball is an Olympic sport. I guess table tennis. I mean, I know I'm sure you have to be pretty damn good with the coordinations and all that. Hand-eye. I'm not very good, to be honest.
Dude.
I'm better at actual tennis, but there's no universe that I qualify in tennis, so give me table tennis.
Table
Mike,
tennis
Mike
is
right
insane.
there is that there's been
They're
there's
so
like
crazy.
the people at the highest level have
Are
been
really
doing
good.
it their
There's-
entire
are really
lives.
good.
Like,
There's
they're
no way
nasty.
I would. I'm just narrowing it down is a little tricky. Yeah. In terms of the physicality and stuff, I think I could handle it, but being actually good at it, yeah, is a different thing.
All right, Lee, you have 2 picks.
I have 2 picks. Okay. I'm trying to decide if I want to go like funny or serious. I'm gonna go. All right. I guess I have 3. I'm gonna go with futsal here, which is for those of you who don't know, it's just indoor soccer with a smaller, heavier ball, smaller goals. It's like 5v5 or 3v3.
Futsal?
Futsal, yes.
Is that an Olympic sport?
It is. Well, it's listed here on this Olympics sport website. Olympics.com-sports. It is listed. And yeah, I've just played a lot of it and I'm good at it. So I'll go that. And then I will say, I'm going to go speed walking here. Just because I feel like that is I feel like,
Legs are bigger.
yeah, I've got long legs and that's just something you just have to sink time into. Like, I'm going to disrespect every person who performs in that sport, but I can't imagine it's like a super high skill ceiling.
Okay, respect. Yeah, fair enough.
Speed walking.
I'm sure again another sport that the best are very good at like any sport on here. But I'm just thinking of like a sport that sometimes you play leisurely, like when in a chill summer day. Give me a beach volleyball. I'll be out there
You're
with
getting
dude.
smoked by those guys. Those guys
pretty
are
good
like
server. I can serve.
Like, guys,
pro-
the female trainer is going to come up and
The women are gonna destroy you, dude. The women's American volleyball players.
I got just a
big.
natural ability.
What'd you
with
just
that.
say, Tim?
The list is big for women's volleyball players versus.
I'll take them on. Yeah, I'll take them on. Yeah.
Going back to our pick now, we will be taking curling.
That's a good pick.
Save that for last.
Yeah. And you don't know what it is.
Too bad. Sully is, or Tim Tebow's twerking for those that
He's
cannot see him
tweaking.
on
Yeah,
camera.
he's excited to make that pick.
Especially after we upset Canada in the last one.
I said twerking.
USA.
Oh, huh. Nah, he twerking.
Okay, so I'm going to take a sport that I'm really surprised hasn't been taken yet. Equestrian. Like dressage.
Big horse guy.
Dressage is
Yeah,
the one.
that's
that
the
I'm
one that
picking.
we wrote down too. So
Dressage is the one that I'm
What's
picking.
dressage?
It's literally
I think I could
How
do
is
that
that
right
an
now.
Olympic sport?
I think I could do it right now.
Equestrian's the one sport that is just like
I thought it was horse riding.
I
Yeah,
mean,
that's what I
it
thought,
is,
yeah.
but it's like
there's certain like
There's different kinds.
track and
Just
field.
dressing the horse is a sport?
So it's like
like
the javelin throwing of equestrian is dressing.
No,
It's not, you're not dressing
like
the
a
horse,
specific
first of
event.
all.
You are
in this
dressing
No,
up.
dressage
You are
is
like
for-
walking
get
the
a
horse
gold?
around.
Well, we just put this out there that dressage is like you're dressing a horse.
No, that is not what
that
it
is.
is.
at all.
No.
It's all like- I was
That's
just-
what these guys said. I don't know.
No, it's like a choreographed
Yes.
kind of thing with the horse, and you're like,
It's like ballet with a
think it
horse.
was like
is the
the-
way I think of it.
Nay.
The one of Snoop going off on the horse that was
Yes.
strip walking. I think that was
That
Oh,
was
sea walking,
dressage.
the horse. Yeah.
Do you think you could do that right now?
yeah.
Okay.
I think I could do that right now.
You see Tassos just like riding around a horse that's like dancing.
And I kind of want to put a winter sport in there. Curling was the good answer. Give me cross country skiing.
Nice. Good one.
Even though I definitely don't have the stamina or the cardio for that. Give me cross country skiing. That's my last pick.
For our last pick, we will be taking a sport that has not been at the Olympics for a while, but is coming back for 2028. Give us baseball.
Good pick.
Raven for drive. Deep
Yeah,
left
where
field.
you guys fitting in on that Team USA batting order?
Probably 12th.
Yeah.
Relief pitcher.
like
the last
See, this
relief
is like
guy.
a basketball hockey argument.
Yeah.
Well, that's not what we're saying because we let you fucking.
Well,
pick
yeah,
those.
okay, but you still have to make the baseball team.
Pinch runner.
I feel like
I think it's a fine pick.
I
think
feel
you
like
guys
I have
would
a
medal in
chance.
baseball.
I feel like I have a chance. That's the
USA
one sport I
definitely
played.
Yeah. All right, we'll stick at the shooting theme, I think, to close her out here. I mean, it's something I've done a little bit of, like doing like camps and stuff over the summer. I wasn't that good at it, but
Artistic swimming.
Big Hunger Games guy. Give me archery, Katniss Everdeen style. I think I could. Yeah, I think I'd be good at that. Yeah, if I really just put my mind, like wherever you're picking, obviously you're going to be training up for. I think I could really hone in on that. So yeah.
I totally thought you were going to pick artistic swimming.
No, I wasn't really thinking of it. Yeah.
Choreographed diving.
Yeah.
And for my last pick, I'm gonna go with handball. It's not really a thing. It's just an athlete. Like I feel like I've got all the facilities for that. Athletic, tall, can stop a ball,
Can smack.
I've got a really good catcher. I've got a good arm too.
Thought you were
But
going to
see,
pick
that's
squash.
like that's a game like you hit the ball. You're not catching and throwing it.
Well, don't you get
Yeah,
like
you
3
are.
steps?
Yeah, you
Something like
definitely
that?
are
Oh, you
catching and
do?
throwing it.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, then I totally am thinking of a different sport then.
Yeah. It's like futsal, but you pick the ball up basically.
Any honorable mentions that didn't make the cut?
Archery.
Justin
picked
picked
archery.
archery.
Yeah.
Archery.
Yeah.
Artistic swimming is definitely one.
Diving is one.
Is that the like choreographed?
Yeah, that's like,
Yeah.
you're dancing in the pool.
Are you diving? Oh no, you're doing the one solely in the
This
pool.
oversimplification of Olympic sports.
Trampoline is another one I was thinking of.
Badminton.
Trampoline.
Oh, yeah.
It's like gymnastics. Badminton is one that I put on our
You
list.
get cooked in
yeah,
badminton.
badminton's one of those sports like table tennis where it's just like those kids have been playing their entire lives.
Yeah, I was thinking of that too. But
Hit the
so-
shuttlecock
For the record,
like
you
200
would-
miles an hour.
For the record, you would get cooked in every single one of these sports.
Yes,
no
we
one
all
would,
would be.
unless you're actually talking about a team sport where you're somehow going to be invited to join the team and ride
you're
pine.
carried.
There
I'll
is
be-
not a single person in this room that is capable of meddling at any
I'll be
Olympic
Team
sport.
USA's bullpen catcher. That's my role.
Yeah,
If
right.
sim racing was an Olympic sport,
I'll
I
be
think I could win
second
that.
water boy.
Are you sure this is the guy, Coach? Imagine Raven jogging out to the mound to pitch in relief against Shohei Ohtani.
I got it, bro.
They're like, yeah, he's gonna medal here, guys.
72
Well,
mile per hour.
obviously, you intentionally walk Shohei.
I think
All right, that's
Shohei
it.
would
That
put
is
that
it.
thing into the next country over.
That was a fun one. Let's send it back on over to the show.
Welcome back, Chicago Hockey Radio. We're going to be having friend of the program, Stephen Ellis, join us in a few minutes. I want to do some prospect talk with Andrew Nolan.
Oh, hell yeah.
Here we go. Finally.
Prospect talk.
Finally.
Oink, oink.
But before we do that, if you're new here, make sure you subscribe to this YouTube channel and hit that notification bell so that you know when we go live. Follow us on Instagram at Chicago Hockey Radio. And if you listen to us on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, please give us a 5-star rating and review on those platforms. Okay. So we talked to Natalie about her thoughts on who the Blackhawks should draft and I guess the draft in general. I guess Nolan, I'll kind of throw the floor over to you, but I will ask if the Blackhawks stay at 3, who do you want them to take there?
All right, so who do I want them to take?
And who do you think they're going to
Yes,
take?
yes. Who do you want, and then who do you think?
Yes.
All right, so who do I want? I think I was leading this the other day. It differs from day to day, honestly, because I think this class from about 3 to 8, it's very similar ceilings. But I think for me personally, today when I woke up, I was like, you know what? James Hagens would look a lot nice, or very nice, very nice. See, I can't even talk right now.
You woke up thinking about how nice James Hagens would look?
Yes, absolutely.
Not quite Bedsy, but yeah.
I think James Hagens, at the center or the left wing position, I think he would be, just something that would be needed for Bedard. I think his skill set, what he was able to do at the under 18s last year, and what he was able to do in the NCAA this year with Perreault and with Leonard, putting up a point per game as a freshman, that's pretty good.
And look what he did in the World Juniors, man. He was cooking over there.
Yeah, the last 2 seasons he's been cooking in the World Juniors, so I'm very excited to see where he ends up. I don't think he will be the pick. I think the pick will be Anton Frondel, unfortunately.
Utter woke nonsense.
Which, honestly, Frondel gives me just a little bit of, I don't know vibes.
Boom bust.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you don't know what
a
you're getting.
very low floor, very high ceiling.
Yeah.
I do think, him playing out in Dish Gardens last year, I thought he, had a very good season, and he's a very raw prospect, so I think there is a lot of room to develop for him. I think his shot is very good, but at the same time, I look at elite prospects a lot. If you guys haven't checked out their study guide, please go look at their draft guide. But I think with Frondel, he's ranked 14 there. I don't know. He's ranked. It was outside of the top 10. I don't know the exact number, but he was ranked outside of the top 10, and it gave me similar vibes to Kirby Doc. Because Kirby Doc wasn't a consensus top 10 pick, and then he was picked at number 3. And also Kevin Korchinski as well was, I believe, 19th in that consensus draft guide in 2022, and he gave me the same sort of vibes at 7. So I'm a vibes guy. I don't know about Frondel.
That's the thing. I've noticed that a lot in rankings. He seems to be all over the place, man. He's either like number 3 or number 10 or wherever. Because he definitely seems like the guy who has like the highest, to your point, highest ceiling but low floor. Yeah.
Can I be honest with you? I disagree with that statement. I think that's the opposite for this kid. I don't think he has a super high ceiling. I think he's got a high floor. I think that's why all the GMs are gushing over him.
Sure.
So I will admit I did watch 30 minutes of Frondel
30
tape
minutes.
this
30
morning.
minutes, there you go.
Preparing for Stephen Ellis because I was like, I hadn't watched his tape in a few weeks. I just wanted, one last good tape sesh for my boy Anton Frondel before I talked to Stephen Ellis. This guy, the reason why people like him so much is like how willing he is to engage with his body. He goes to the dirty areas. He's really good along the wall. He does these like minor things really, really well compared to other kids his age. And those are things that are very translatable to the NHL game. But when I watch him, this is not some like fast play driving first line center. Like this is not a 1C whatsoever. And I don't think he'll ever be a 1C. So it's like, I hear all these people talking like, oh yeah, like the Blackhawks need help at center. They need center. It's like, okay, so are you drafting a third line center here?
We're drafting Anton Frondel Lundell, the third pick there to be the 3C. That makes sense, right? When you already have Bedsy Nazer in your top 6. Yeah.
That's kind of what it feels like to me. And maybe that's a guy that is a first line player as a winger, but I don't see a first line or even
He
damn
probably
near
would be
second
moved to the
line
wing, I
center.
would think. Like if the Hawks draft him, he'd probably be in Betsy's wing. I imagine that would be the play. The hope is that maybe he could be the dry sow to Bedard, but I think that's you're hoping for a lot there. Yeah,
But Nolan, I'd assume that the guy you want most in this draft is Michael Misa. Correct?
100%. My take throughout the entire draft process, me personally, and this is a little bit of a hot take here, I'm not sold at, with Matthew Schaefer being the undisputed number one prospect. I think that is Michael Misa. I think Michael Misa brings the track record, 132 points in 65 games, over, a goal and an assist per game or something crazy like that.
Yeah.
The most amount of points from a draft eligible guy since John Tavares, who I have, honestly, I see that as a big comp, Misa and Tavares. They play a very similar style game. But with Michael Misa, I think you get the exceptional status. You get the Memorial Cup as well. I think Michael Misa should be the guy who goes number one off any board. I think Islanders fans would be very happy about it. I just haven't seen enough out of Matthew Schaefer with the injury this year to be like, yeah, he is the number one defenseman that everyone should want.
Yeah, I don't understand that, man. Like, Misa's breaking records, putting up totals we haven't seen since Patrick Kane, and Schaefer was injured for like 3/4 of the season. Like, but no, this kid, look, we've seen his tape. He's the next Kale McCarr. He's a unanimous one. I don't really get it, man.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, I do think from those 20 games, you do see Schaefer, but I do want to see more of like a full season kind of thing.
Sure.
I want to see more tape. That's really all it comes down to.
For Schaefer?
For Schaefer, yes.
Big
I think,
tape guy.
Yeah.
So would you be okay with Kyle Davidson putting a package together to move up from third pick to the first pick? And what would be like the limit of like, all right, I'm not willing to give up that much?
See, I haven't really looked at, an absolute draft package.
Yeah.
Because it's unheard of to go from 3 to 1. I think the last time that happened was the Sedin draft. Yeah, the Sedin
That sounds
draft.
correct. You don't see trades up there very often.
Exactly. And it's just, uncharted territory.
Yeah.
I would give up, like next year's Florida pick, because I think that's going to be more of a second rounder. You look at what Florida's done. I don't think Florida's going to stop now. And I also think that, the second rounders are in play. We have a lot of second rounders over the next 3 years. I think those can be in play. But prospect wise, I don't really know who would push the needle.
What about would you throw in like a Lucas Reichel and a Kevin Korchinski and like a first?
I would only do Korchinski if we move up for Schaefer. I think moving Korchinski for Schaefer would be, the good lateral move. I wouldn't move Korchinski for Misa, if that makes sense.
Yeah, you don't want to move a defensive prospect for a forward one.
Yeah,
is what you're saying there.
Yeah, absolutely. But I do think that left side of the Blackhawks prospects do need to get figured out this offseason.
Of the defense core?
Yes, the logjam.
Yeah, because there's quite a few of them, isn't there?
Yeah. There's a lot.
There's too much of them. They're not all going to make it. There's like 10 guys there.
Yeah.
I don't know about you, but Nolan, I feel like Kevin Korchinski is at max going to be the second pairing guy on the left
At best,
side.
the fourth best defensive
Yes,
we've seen
I absolutely agree with that.
Vlasic, Artie, and Renzel.
Yeah, absolutely. I think he's already, lost his role as a power play quarterback due to the emergence of Levshunov and how much they really like Levshunov. And then the emergence of Sam Renzel. I love watching Sam Renzel quarterback that power play. I think he's going to be a stud in this league.
So does that make him expendable and a trade up for me? So
Yeah, I think I would.
I'd pull the trigger in a heartbeat.
I feel like we have such.
I don't even know if it'd be enough. To be honest,
we have such a and that's the thing is like
Islanders,
would the
you're gonna
Islanders?
need to overpay. You're gonna need to
if
overpay.
you're the Islanders, are you okay with taking? I don't know. Maybe you get a Kevin Korchinski for your left side there instead of Matthew Schaefer, and then you also get your hometown boy in James Higgins or something at 3, and then also another first round pick. I don't know. I think you could convince them. I want Kyle Davidson to be aggressive, and something I'm really excited to. As he shows up, just asking about the difference between Misa Schaefer versus the rest, and like how big of a gap that is.
Yeah.
But joining us now is the associate editor for the Daily Faceoff, as well as their top prospect guru. It is Mr. Stephen Ellis. How are you doing today,
Welcome.
sir?
I'm doing great. How are you guys doing?
Fantastic. A much better day now that you're here.
Yeah, doing great.
Yeah, we're excited to talk to you. Our chat is very excited for us to talk to you.
They're
'cause
ready.
All they care about is prospects and young players. So, we're very happy to have you on
You're
again.
the top guy for that. Yeah.
First question I want to ask you is how do you grade this draft compared to others either in the past or maybe even next year's draft?
I'd say like this is like it's a good draft, nothing too fancy. Like the top of the draft is nice. I like the top, like Schaefer's special, Misa's great. I like Hagens, I like Martone. There's a lot of key pieces there. You get to the 20s and that's where things start to fall off a bit. And a deeper draft will be like last year. I thought there were like a good 40-ish guys I liked that could have been maybe first round picks. This year I don't feel like that's the case. So it's not a super strong draft. That being said, a bunch of good goalies in the draft this year. Some more guys from the queue, which is never always like that isn't always a thing. So, some good pieces there. But yeah, I'd say it's good, but could have been better.
Okay.
2026 though, that's looking strong. That's like that. I think we always say the next year's draft's going to look really good because we're going off of what we really expect is going to happen. But when you got Gavin McKenna, Keaton Verhoff, Ryan Lynn, Ethan Belchitz, Ryan Rubik, there's a lot of high-end talents that would be high draft picks in this year's draft.
I've heard that next year's draft is like
Loaded.
really loaded with the high end talent. Is it also pretty deep, or is it kind of too early to make those judgments?
Way too early, I think.
Okay.
Like that's the thing. I don't know if we really even got a good enough sense of how deep or not deep this draft was going to be until probably like mid-December.
We something right before you came on. What we were talking about is how like Schaefer was not. I feel like he was not the consensus top pick this time last year. I was seeing a lot of Hagens, and there was Misa and Martone. We've seen so much movement, even with guys like Frendell, who we'll get into in a bit. Have moved so much, and with like the situation with Schaefer just like not playing much this year, but then Michael Misa like breaking records. What is the reasoning for why these guys jumps? Like I thought James Hagens had a solid year in the NCAA as well, and somehow he's slid to 3 and might slide even lower than that in the draft. Like, what's the reasoning for that?
So when you look at Schaefer, I think the pure skill, the way he thinks the game, like there's no one else in this draft class, especially as a defenseman, that comes close. And he's the best processor at speed. He can slow things down. He can run the power play. He can score. He can pass. He can shoot. He can do all that. And in terms of actually being a solid defenseman, he's very good in his own zone too. So you put that all together, and there's just so much to love. And I think with Schaefer, he didn't play a ton of games. I think if you count between exhibition games and World Juniors, Hlinka Gretzky, OHL, we're looking at probably 30 games total for him. But he just played so well in those games. Like he looks like the next big star defenseman. Like you think about the Cale Makars, the Adam Fox, guys like that, like Quinn Hughes. He's in that conversation 100%, and it's because he's just got the strength, the speed, the skill, everything, and the way he thinks. Again, top of the class. And Michael Misa had such a good season there too, like unbelievable forward, one of the best OHL draft seasons we've ever seen. So it's close. Like I think if anyone says there's anyone who's like a runaway favorite for number 1, they're lying to you. But I'm giving Schaefer the edge because you just don't find defensemen like that pretty much ever.
Yeah, you kind of answered the question then there, but like it does feel like this is the first draft in a while, maybe since 2022, where the number 1 pick isn't like confirmed per se, but you would lean towards Schaefer, you would say. Yeah.
I do, just because like again, he's got those Cale Makar, Miro Heiskanen, like Quinn Hughes type abilities there that just I would take him, no question about it. And most scouts I've talked to would tell you the exact same thing.
You put out an article yesterday, I believe, on dailyfaceoff.com, and the title was "Why Michael Misa is a Future NHL Superstar." How do you feel about that guy's? Where do you think that guy's ceiling and his floor are at? And obviously, him and Schaefer are the names we keep hearing at the top. Is there a big gap between Michael Misa and the other forwards in this draft class?
Big gap, no, but I don't think there's a way he falls after number 2. Like he's definitely a top 2 prospect, but I also like Martone. I like Hagens a lot too. With Misa, it's the move to center was so big for him this year. He told me last week he was focusing more on trying to be a more accurate shooter than just being a power shooter. And that was one thing you'd see him take one-timers in the past and good shots, not necessarily the most accurate or right at the goalie's chest. Now he's picking those right angles. He's in the right spot at the right time almost all the time, and that's why he scores so many goals. He thinks the game at a high level. He's competitive. His defensive game's good. Like there just isn't a real flaw in his game. And I think like if you're comparing him to other first overall picks, I think Bedard's more skilled. And I'd say Celebrini's more well-rounded, but I'd say Misa is just like in terms of being able to put points on the board. Like I wouldn't be surprised if he outperforms them both in terms of pure offensive, because I think he's got a better shot than either of them. He's the guy that I would want to win. Like if you put a one-on-one competition between him and Bedard, I think Bedard still wins. But I think that Misa's got just this ability to get himself into scoring situations that very few players are able to do. Like he's not the most skilled guy. He's not going to pull off these highlight reel moves every night. But what he's going to do is he's going to be standing all alone, ready to shoot, and then he'll score.
So as Hawks fans, we're big fans of James Hagen's game. We like to see him in a Hawks uniform. I guess you kind of answered the question there, but you don't think there's really any shot he drops a three. If the Hawks want this guy, they're going to have to trade up to get him?
For Misa, you mean?
Yeah, for Misa. Yeah.
For Misa, yeah. Basically, no chance he's going to three. It's one or two, and I doubt it's number one.
So you're dropping your final draft rankings tomorrow, or is it today?
I actually just clicked submit on them about 20 minutes ago.
Oh,
so
there you go. They'll drop soon. There we go.
So your last one that came out like a little less than a month ago, you had James Hagen's at 3. Is that the third best player in this draft in your mind?
So he's not number 3 anymore, but it's close.
Oh.
I have Porter Martone out number 3. Just going back and rewatching, like Porter Martone and James Hagens are the two guys I've actually watched the most in the draft class. Like Hagens, I saw him like 30 times last year. And with Martone, he plays in Brampton. I live just outside of Brampton, so I got to see him a lot the last couple of years. With Martone, I like him a bit more because I feel like he's a guy you win with. And that's a kind of a phrase that appears on a few guys this year, like Brady Martin's a good example. But with Martone, he thinks at such a high level, might be one of the smartest players in the draft. He also has an underrated shot. Most people I talked to before the season expected him to get 50 goals. He didn't actually really come that close. But what he did work on this year was becoming a better playmaker. Now he's way more dynamic as an offensive threat. He's got that physical edge in him. I really wish he would use it more, though. He's fully capable of flattening guys and fighting guys, doing all this stuff. But it feels like there's times where he's just trying to focus on getting into the right scoring lane, which, hey, all the credit to him. But he could battle a bit harder in front of the net. He can push guys around a bit more to gain the puck himself, and that would make him a better defensive player. But I think he's just the shot, the way he thinks the game. I love that. I'm not worried about his skating. I think anyone also who's saying his skating is a big issue and you wouldn't take him for that, you're making a mistake. Because like Jason Robertson,
Steven,
like Jason Robertson was a terrible skater in his draft year, worse than Porter Martone. Would you say Jason Robertson's turned out to be a pretty good hockey player?
Yeah, he's all right. 100-point plus season. Yeah, he's
I think he looks like he's making a career for himself.
Exactly. So that's why I'm not too worried about. Like that's the thing. You give him NHL coaches, he'll figure it out. And I remember watching him at his U16 age group. He was a much worse skater than he is now. So he actually has come a long way, which means I'm still thinking he's going to continue doing that. So I'm not too worried. If he's going to college next year, he'll have a lot of extra time to work on his skating and things like that. So I'm not worried about that. But then there's Hagens, who I feel like gets underrated because he didn't have an explosive college season. He still had a great college season. And what I think we'll have to take into account is, ironically, the guy who set the record for most points at the U18 World Championship and the U17 World Championship might not be a massive point producer in the NHL, but what he's going to be is this all-around threat who's going to be very smart, outthink guys. He's going to still set guys up, but he's going to make a lot of plays that just won't punch you on the board. It'll be like these just small breakout plays, these great plays through the neutral zone, things that will just make sure that your team is not losing on the ice in any given shift. He's not big, but he's gotten a bit bigger, and I think if he was 6'1", I think we're talking about it a bit more closer to number 2. But as long as he continues to bulk up, improve his defensive play, and maybe just do a bit more around the net itself, I think he's going to be one heck of a player. So like you'll be happy if you take either one of those. And at this point in their development, you shouldn't be disappointed over one or the other. They're very close.
If you're Kyle Davidson, you're making the third pick in the draft. Between those two players, which one would you take? And then I guess the second question would be, who do you think the Hawks are going to take at 3? Yeah.
The answer to both, I'm leaning Porter Martone. And I think that Martone's just a guy that he knows how to play with skilled players. We watched him with Celebrini in some brief pre-tournament action at the before the World Championship, and it's like, whoa, okay, this is awesome. He's great. When he feeds off of other high-end talent, he makes things happen, and that's why we see him really thrive in some of these showcase events, like that CHL USA series where he was a bit quieter in that first game, and then the second game he was one of the best players on the ice. Like even when he's not scoring, he's still finding a way to be impactful, whether it just be the smart decision making to get himself out of trouble, to make sure the puck's going to the O-zone. Like you look at the analytics, he's typically very good analytically because when he's on the ice, the puck is typically in the offensive zone. And that's what I love about him. So Porter Martone's the guy. And also like if you put him with Bedard's creativity and everything like that, like those guys are going to get 100 points each.
I saw your tweet during the Worlds with celebrating him playing together. And like, if I'm the Sharks, I would be keeping that chemistry going. I agree. So Mason could drop to 3. Yeah.
I'm a little concerned. I mean, we just spend all this time talking about, Martone and Higgins and what great players there are. Right now, everything that I've heard, it seems like the Blackhawks are most likely to take Anton Frundell at 3. Like he's the favorite on the sports book, and it's the line has moved. The line has moved more and more towards Frundell, basically by the day. Insiders both, we talked to Charlie Romeliotis, and he was like, I would really key in on Frundell and
Scott
NYA.
Laz was said it. Yeah.
Same thing from them. Steven, when I look at Anton Frundell, tell me if I'm wrong. I see a guy that does a lot of like the nitty gritty thing that like GMs love in the NHL. Like he loves to go to the dirty areas. So similar to kind of what you were just saying a little bit about Porter Martone. He loves to go to the dirty areas. He's great along the wall. He engages with his body. He's a physical kid, which those are all great things. But is this a kid with a high floor and maybe not the highest ceiling? I just when I watch Porter Martone play, I'm like, this kid could be a star, and I don't know if I see that in Anton Frundell.
See, with Anton Frundell, I do think that's the thing. I don't know if I would consider him a star compared to what Porter Martone is, but I still think he's going to be he's probably the best power forward in this draft class. And he's a guy that when he's really on his game, he can dominate shifts in a way that very few guys can. He's got a great shot, like one of the best shots in this class. He's not huge by me. He's 6'1", but he's like 200 pounds and he knocks guys down. I think he's also like the hockey sense to me is not at Porter Martone's level, and that's why I kind of have him a little bit below, because to me, a smart player is going to make things work. You don't need to be the most skilled player, but a smart player is going to make things work. And I feel like there are times where Frundell will make these great plays and he'll just kind of give the puck away unprompted. And we saw that a lot at the U18s, and we saw that a little bit in the Allsvenskan playoff series. So it feels like there are times where he just kind of has these brain farts. He's not as effective, but you're still talking about like a more physical Bo Horvat, and you're still getting a very good play out of that. Or like even to a lesser extent, like Brock Nelson. Well, Brock Nelson was good enough to be on the Four Nations faceoff team. So like that's still a pretty good player, but I don't know if he's going to, I don't know if he's consistent enough for my liking. Like I always notice Porter Martone, but there's enough shifts where I don't notice Anton Frundell. Granted, Frundell's been playing against men, and that's a tough competition. And we'll see what he could do in the SHL next year, but it's something where I don't know if his skating is high level enough, and I don't know if his hockey sense is high level enough that I would feel super confident at number 3, but is still a very good player. I think you'll still like him if he goes to number 3. That's just not who I'd pick.
I'm glad you brought up the skating, because I watched 30 more minutes. I had to prepare for this interview. I was like, I need to get some Frundell tape in right now because I haven't watched him in a couple weeks. I keep hearing this narrative that, oh, Porter Martone can't skate. It's Porter Martone skating. Like, he's just got no burst speed. When I watch Anton Friendel, this kid can't skate either. Like, is Porter Martone like that much worse of a skater
They
than
look
this
pretty
guy? Like,
similar to me. I don't know. Maybe it's just the
I don't
level
see this
play.
Friendel kid being a guy that's gonna drive play as like a first line center. Like, we're kind of pretending like he's going to be
More
if
of a
we're
winger.
taking him at third overall.
Like, I'll say this about Frundell. If Frundel's skating might look worse when he's playing against men compared to Martone
enough.
playing
Good
against a
point.
bunch of teenagers. So there is that. I will say also watching Martone it was playing against Hungary, but even in that pre-tournament game, I'm like, damn, this guy actually is skating better than I remember him even just a few months ago. So there's that. I'm not too worried about either of them as skaters at all. It's just like you look at like what Hagens and Misa could do, and they kind of elevate the bar to another point where they won't look as good of skaters, but they're going to be fine in the NHL, both of them.
Another guy that the Hawks have kind of been circling a little bit, maybe after Frundell, has been Caleb Denoye. I actually noticed, at least on your last ranking, you actually had him ahead of Frundell. I'm not sure if you still do, but thoughts on him, his
swapped.
game.
They swapped.
They did? Okay. I guess overall thoughts on his game, where he can land. Yeah.
Well, Denoye is a proven winner. He's won the U17, the U18, the Helinkas. He just won the QMJHL championship. So this is a guy who's played a lot of important minutes in a lot of pressure pack situations in such a short span. And that's important to a lot of teams and a lot of scouts because it shows you can handle that. Playing for Team Canada at a U18 tournament or a U17 tournament, you're expected to do well. But he's a key piece of all those teams, no matter who he was playing with. And he got injured, I think, at multiple different points this season. Nothing crazy, but enough to miss some time. And it was the move from center to the wing that was definitely interesting to close out the season because he was struggling to face offs with a wrist injury. But his versatility on both of those is very impressive. He's got a big body. He can skate. Like, I don't feel like this is an explosive 80, 90 point guy in the NHL. Like, I think Martone and Hagens are probably going to outperform him.
Yeah.
But the floor might be the highest of any of these guys where, like, I feel like things don't work out. Maybe he comes your second line center. He's going to be one hell of a second line center. And I think that he's also good in the power play. I remember watching him with the CHL USA series, and it felt like every time he had the puck, it was glued to him. Like, he wasn't losing it. No one was getting it from him, and he got it where he wanted it to be. So I like him. Again, just a little less than some of these other guys.
If the Blackhawks at 3 take a Denoye or a Frundell, what's going to be your response to that? I'm sure you're not going to be surprised by that necessarily, but are you going to be like,
could this be a missed opportunity?
I don't know if that's because it just feels like hearing what you say about these guys too, kind of just reaffirming my thoughts on the whole situation. It seems like if we go with one of those two kids at 3, you're almost it's like risk aversion. You're like worried about who has the highest floor as opposed to who has the highest ceiling. The Blackhawks take one of those two kids at 3 instead of a Hagens or a Martone. Will you view that as like a missed opportunity for the Blackhawks?
No, it's because I think we're looking at like 3 to like 6 or 7 being really close. Like, if they even took Brady Martin, I wouldn't be like, oh, that's a bad pick. Like, that's the thing. Like, I think the way teams are scouting is starting to change. And you look how Vegas built their team of being these tough guys to play against a couple years ago. And then you look at the Florida Panthers winning 2 Stanley Cups with a very similar mantra. I think you're not just looking to take the guy with the most upside and the most skill. In a lot of cases, you're trying to find the guy who is like going to be the best all-around player for you. And you don't draft for need at number 3. You are drafting your best player available.
You should be.
But how teams view that could vary all over the place. And so I'd say, like, it wouldn't be too much of a shock. Like, if I'm doing it, like, I'm Martone, Hagens, Frundell, Denoye, Brady Martin, that's probably what I'm looking at there. Or Jake O'Brien's also going to be part of this conversation. They're all close. They're different players. They've got different strengths and all to each other. Any of those picks make sense to me, but I just feel like I like Martone the most.
Are you expecting any big trades at the round 1 on draft day?
Nope.
Okay.
Never do. I will always shut that one down because if you look at the history, especially in the top 10, it just doesn't happen in the draft. So I don't expect it. Like, if anything, it's like maybe Montreal trades like their 2 first rounders, but That's like 16, 17. That's like that doesn't matter as much.
Okay.
Frank Saravalli reporting that this week that he does think that third overall pick might be in play. Whether that's to move up or maybe
acquire a star.
You just based on history, you just don't think it's probably going to happen.
You hear the stories like that all the time, and I don't doubt that they're looking at like seeing what they can do with it. But you would be dumb to not do your due diligence and listen to offers if someone wants to throw you a lot for a high pick like that, especially for Chicago where they got a decent pipeline. But I don't know. You can never have. I would always rather have a high end prospect than a high end pick. Just give me the player. Give me what like the what you have already, and that's why I don't really see it happening. Like if you get like when was the last time a team traded inside the top 10? Like are we looking at like 07 or 08?
Yeah, it's been a long time. I couldn't even tell you.
Like some of these, like we're talking about like when these players were just born. The guys that are getting drafted this year. Like it just just for reference. Like I know there was the Corey Schneider trade million years ago, but that was a player for a pick. That wasn't like a pick to trade down type thing. So we'll see. But it just doesn't happen.
I think our buddy Andrew Nolan has a question for you.
Yes, I do. Circling back to the Denwye talk, I know it's been a big talking point about him returning to Moncton, being the captain at Moncton. You see all these guys in the CHL transferring to the NCAA. Look at Jackson Smith. You look at the rumors about McKenna, the rumors about Martone. How much stock do you buy into that going back to the CHL and the QMJHL in particular?
I will buy none of it until about like August 1st because a lot could change. It really depends. Like he could get an NHL contract 2 days after he's drafted, and we're kind of looking at it and say, okay, well then he can't go to college. That part's done. So we'll see. In a lot of cases, it's some players don't want to leave the situations that they're in. Some want to continue chasing championships. Like if I have there's a thing about. Yeah, the Q might not be the toughest competition, but you can learn so much from having a coach like Gardner McDougall, who absolutely should be an NHL coach, no question about it. This guy wins at every level, so smart, gets the most of his players no matter what, and that's who he's got in the Q. I think that we're going to see a lot more players that haven't been announced that will decide to go to college, and for some players it's the right thing, for some others it's not. Like there are some guys who like Penn State's bulking up right now, but you're going to screw over some of the guys who were part of those long-term plans that now are just going to be shoved down the lineup. So I think it really depends on what school you're going to, the opportunities you'd get. But each player is going to be different, and it's really hard to get a good read as to really who will benefit from it the most, given that it's kind of an unusual circumstance right now. But like I would think Martone's going to college. If Misa doesn't make the NHL, I think college is the right move for him. But in a lot of cases, you can't. You want to benefit from playing 60 plus regular season games and maybe another 15, 20 playoff games. Like that's what I'm looking at here and saying a lot of cases, the players just need to play more than they need to play at just tougher competition.
Oh, I'll go. Yeah. You expect any surprise on draft day? Guys projected higher could drop. Guys who pick higher than expected. Yeah.
I'd say the one that's been the hot topic, definitely to mention him again, is Brady Martin. I would almost at this point believe he'll be gone at number 4 for Utah. And I fully support it. I love Brady Martin as a player. I think he's a fantastic prospect. In terms of that, Roger McQueen's the guy to watch. He's dealt with a lot of injuries, specifically in the back. He came back. He was healthy for the draft combine, but in back injuries. That's hard enough to say. Consecutive back injuries. That's a tough one to overcome. And he didn't look that great when he returned to finish the WHL season. So we'll see. But like McQueen was in the number 1 conversation early in the season, like the pure size, skill, speed, everything, like 6'5" forward who moves like he does. You don't find guys like that often. You love players like that. Like he's like another Tage Thompson in a way, just more of a center. We'll see where he falls though, because I know some teams are definitely like, I don't know, like multiple back injuries. We just saw what happened to Caden Lidstrom. We might want to be a bit careful here. So we'll see. But those are the ones I'd be keeping an eye on that could really spice up this draft.
We may have asked you this question when we had you on in January, but who are kind of maybe some of your personal favorites in this draft that maybe aren't getting talked about a ton, maybe not quite in the limelight? Who are the Stephen Ellis picks?
So Kashawn Aitchison is my favorite defenseman. Like that's a guy who wants to go out there and pummel every single person, but he's got the skill to back it up. Like he'll knock you down, and then he'll like look at the guy, see if the guy wants to fight, and then he'll get the puck and he'll go and create a scoring chance. Like there's a lot to like about that. His whole mantra is making himself difficult to play against, which as a defenseman is very important. He's only like 6 foot. He's not huge by any means. And there's some scouts that aren't sure he's going to be able to translate that play to the next level. But I'm a believer 100% that this is a guy who can just cause chaos and be aggressive and do all this great stuff on the blue line. And then I like Jack Ivankovic, the 5'11" goaltender. Like I had Dustin Wolf as a first round prospect in his draft year. He went in the 7th round. He's turned out to be a pretty solid goalie prospect. I feel very similar, not a first round this year, but I feel very high on Jack Ivankovic, who's 5'11", so he's not big. His dad's 6'5", so there's hope there. But he's one of the most athletic goaltenders. He's so square to the post. He didn't have great numbers this year, but you got to look at the fact that Brampton just didn't have a great team in front of him. And when he played on competitive teams, he was lights out. Like one of the best goalies we've ever seen at the U18s and the Hlinka Gretzky and the U17 World Challenge. Like this is a guy that just continues to impress every time the spotlight's on. But will teams take a 5'11" goaltender? We'll see. Like he will get drafted. If he's taken in the 2nd round, I think it's a good value pick. Taking anything after that, I think teams are making a mistake. But Jack Ivankovic, I'm a big fan of him.
Tassos would strangle us if we didn't ask you about Radim Murka. This kid's an absolute monster, absolute beast. And apparently we did some research. Apparently he just started playing hockey not that long ago. Yeah, what's his story?
So, sorry, I cut out there. I missed what you actually said there.
Oh, my bad. Yeah, just thoughts on Radim Murka. Yeah.
Is it true that he just started playing hockey like 3 years ago or something? Did you hear that too, or is that something that maybe Tassos misheard?
I don't think that was him. There was another big defenseman though, which is Simon Wang. That's a guy who only started playing competitive hockey when he was 14. So Murka, just looking at his stats, he's been playing for at least well over 5-6 years at a minimum. But Murka's a big defenseman, moves well, really good numbers when he moved to the WHL. So I was impressed with that because he wasn't playing a whole lot when he was in that Czech league. I think that was a good move for him. But Simon Wang, though, just to talk about him quickly, he's very interesting because, he came from China. He's going to be one of the, very likely the highest drafted player out of China ever. And a big reason for his success is just his speed and mobility, or his speed, mobility, and his size. And I think if you look at him and say, oh, he's only getting interest because he's 6'6", well, there's a lot of 6'6" defensemen in the draft, but they're not getting as much love as him. And that's because he might be one of the best skating defensemen in this entire draft class. When he figures out how to move the puck and play at a higher level in the OHL, he's going to look like an absolute steal. I did drop in my rankings because I feel like there were times in the OHL he just looked lost and his decision-making didn't exactly match with his footwork. But a lot to like there, and he's going to be a nice little pick for someone in the 2nd round.
So everybody in the Blackhawks faithfuls obviously talk about pick number 3, but they also have picks in the late 1st round, 25, early 2nd round, 34. Who are some players they may be keying in on around there? Yeah.
So this is one where if you're going to trade a pick, this is the time it's those second picks that are probably the ones to do because it's just not. I don't know. It's like I'd say once you hit 21, that's when things kind of start to fall off a little bit. If I'm the Blackhawks and you're looking at 25, you're looking at Malcolm Spence if he's still available. I love Malcolm Spence, really hardworking guy. If you want to add another defenseman to the stable, Blake Fiddler will be around, the son of Vern Fiddler. I think he's probably going to cap out as a second pairing defense, and you can never have enough defensemen in the system. I really believe that. If Cullen Potter's around, a small center, so I know that might not be the most exciting, but I do think that he could be a guy that maybe turns some heads because he's just really defensively strong, and he's also physical for a guy who's not that big. Milton Gastrin is a center I like, very good two-way all-around centerman. So, but the overall, those are some picks where don't love them, but it's just kind of shows you the draft's not super deep.
Nolan, you got another one for him?
Yeah, absolutely. Talking about late 1st round guys, someone that's really shot up draft boards is Philip Ekberg out of the Ottawa 67s. He had a hell of a tournament at the U18s. How much are you buying into his draft stock? And do you think he honestly goes into the 1st round?
1st round, definitely not. I To be honest, I'd be shocked if he's even a second round pick this year. And maybe even at best, maybe a mid third rounder. I got him as number 69 on my board. Nice.
Nice.
Had to do it. Ekberg is very skilled, one of the most skilled players in the CHL, and I love watching him, but his consistency could be an issue. Now, obviously, you go and see what he did at the U18s. Fantastic performance, one of the best we've actually ever seen at this tournament's history. I will argue that he also played with some really good setup guys that did a lot of the work. There were a lot of those points where he kind of stood around and did nothing, but he scored. So you can't you got to give him credit for that. I think that you really don't want to put too much stock into a short tournament like that. And when you look at the bigger picture, he struggled a lot in the OHL this year. Like that was a difficult thing. Granted, his coach was Dave Cameron. If you know Dave Cameron from the Canadian World Junior team,
not that guy.
Questionable decisions. It felt like he was just sheltered in some weird areas. So we'll have to, like, for me to feel confident about him as anything more than like a 60 to 90 like overall prospect, I want to see him really take control of his opportunities next year, be a power play dynamo and things like that. I'm not 100% sold on him right now.
Gotcha. Another guy that, you know, might go late first, early second that I'm curious to hear you talk about it. I know the Blackhawks and Kyle Davidson won't go for this guy, but Ivan Ryabkin, obviously he was regarded like top 5 potential pick last year. And
he's a Russian name, Ivan, so they won't go for him.
True. What are your thoughts on him? And do you think his game can translate to the National Hockey League? Are you bullish on him or the contrary?
He's one of, I won't say controversial, but he's one of like the most difficult prospects to really get a good evaluation on this year. Like, first off, when I say like there's certain players I'm not worried about their skating, he is one I think I'm a little worried about. And he's a very violent player. Like he goes out there like wanting to hurt guys. Like you look at like the top Russian prospects the last couple of years, Demonov and Michkov, like this guy's nowhere near the same, like at all. Very physical player, great shot, good playmaker. Like with the puck, he's good. Without the puck, that's where things kind of fall apart. Like he's not great defensively, he struggles a lot. And that's actually why he was like a healthy scratch in the Russian Junior League, which is very hard to do when you're a prospect of his skill. So that was a really disappointing situation there. Like he kind of reminds me a bit of Ridley Gregg, and I liked Ridley Gregg a lot because he was just out there to cause chaos. I don't feel like Ryabkin's at that point yet, but like if he could figure out how to play with a bit more pace and with the skating, like I think he's a pretty good third line player in the NHL. His draft stock went from potential first liner to maybe a mid second rounder.
Who are some guys who stood out to you the most at the draft combine in Buffalo?
See, the combine, that's the thing. It's like I don't take much
at all.
It's not like the NFL. Yeah.
Like do you see a kid only do 7 pull-ups and you're like, man, this is soft.
Sam Bennett couldn't do one, right?
Yeah.
I purposely don't watch. I don't watch any of the drills for a reason. And it's like, because there's 90 players talking during the day, so you have so much to do.
Yeah.
But the big thing about the combine is just so the players can meet with the teams.
Yeah.
Like, that's what the real thing is. Like, the actual drills and stuff, it's like, let's just see if you're, like, physically fit. But like, that's really it. Like, you look at the top prospects, a lot of them don't participate, and a lot of them don't go high in general. Like, you're not seeing, like, Connor Bedard doing these insane things a couple of years ago. Like that just doesn't happen. Like you look at the guys who really excel at the combine, it's the guys who are just the biggest, like Will Horkoff and Carter and Mikko, guys like that. It's like, okay, well, good for them. So there's not really much to take out of it. But what I did notice, like Will Horkoff is, I think, about 20 something pounds heavier than he was when he was listed as when he joined the University of Michigan in like January. Now, I don't know if they resized him. Like, I don't know if they put him on a scale and actually measured his weight, but he looks physically stronger now. And if anyone was to move up draft boards, I feel it'd be him, because now everyone kind of got to see up close, like, oh boy, this guy is massive. He's already like moves well. He competes hard. He hits hard. He's going to hit even harder, I think, next season. So I think Horkoff, the son of Sean Horkoff, former NHLer, was probably the one that most people were talking about.
Do you have an opinion on the setup of the draft, the centralization versus decentralization? Do you have any opinion on that?
the Sphere was the coolest thing ever last year.
Yeah.
So naturally, let's stop doing some fun stuff and do something a little more boring. I would be surprised if this is more than a 1-year thing. I think this should be just a 1-year decentralized. It's pretty much almost feels like it's unanimous across the board. The teams are on board with going back to the normal format. I think a lot of people want to go back to Montreal. My guess is they will go back out east after, I believe, 3 years out west. But I would love to go back to the Sphere. That was cool. Nashville is awesome. We'll see what LA's like. Obviously, a lot of stuff going on in LA.
I don't know if it's a great timing at the moment. Yeah.
Well, at least it looks like that stuff's like, it shouldn't be too big of an issue for now. But yeah, like I think I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be different. There's still going to be like 100-something players. Brady Martin, the most notable guy, not being there because his family is one of the biggest farming families in Ontario. They have like something like 1,000 animals on their farm, like something nuts. So like he actually just could not leave to go to the draft, which it sucks for him, but he's got a backup plan at least.
That's
crazy.
Which teams are you kind of circling your eye on the most on draft day? Which team intrigues you? Yeah.
San Jose, definitely, because they got that second pick, but they got another pick in the first round.
Yeah.
Philadelphia's got a bunch of picks that could be interesting. I believe 3 in the first round. So those like the ones with the most picks are that's the cop-out answer. But I'll say any team that takes a goalie will intrigue me because this is a good year for goalies in the draft. So take advantage of that while you can.
Not to backtrack here. I know we've established these things about like all these guys in the top 5, and you don't think that a trade's gonna happen with a top 5 pick, but I would be upset with myself if I didn't ask you this. Would it be worth the Blackhawks trading up the 3rd overall pick to try to get Michael Misa? Would it be worth it, considering what they would have to give up?
No. It'll be costly to move up one spot, and like that's the thing. That's why I think teams don't do it. It's just not worth it most times. And if you're San Jose, like you're like, oh, we'll just try to exploit you here, and like it would cost you the first pick, and at minimum like Kevin Korchinski, which like I think the team would be willing to move with, but like I don't know if that does it. Like you need to do more than that. So. If it I just feel like the cost would be too much to move up one spot when you're still going to be very happy with Porter Martone or James Higgins. Like, yeah, that's not Michael Misa, but like they're not the same player. So you look at it and like I think Martone with Bedard almost makes more sense than anybody else in this draft.
Oh, man.
And he's going to be available, and we're not going to take him. I guarantee
Listen to this
it.
man, Kyle. Yeah, this one, you don't think there's any chance that the Islanders could throw a Hail Mary at their hometown boy?
We're like begging Steven. We're like, please tell us it can happen.
Is there any chance? Because there's been some smoke of James Higgins. I'm more him just loving his Islanders fandom. You don't think there's any shot the Islanders could maybe surprise the world and take him at 1?
Please.
Throw us a bone.
To be fair, if they don't take Schaefer, I think they're more likely to take Higgins. That's just my personal guess.
Yeah.
If Higgins is the first one off the board, Blackhawks are getting me. So I'll just say that because
San
Schaefer
Jose can
is
take
like
Schaefer.
a lock to San Jose at that point. So it's definitely not out of the question. It's just like, again, if there's any team that would trade down, it feels like it'd be them. And they need the best player available. The Islanders have one of the worst pipelines in hockey. So
yeah. Well, we'll keep being delusional over here.
We've also heard talks about like potentially trading the 3rd overall pick for like a current NHL player. I know that maybe this isn't the best draft, but it's like what kind of player is worth
the value
trading a 3rd overall pick for? Is there like a guy that you're like, or maybe like a specific level, maybe several guys that's like, yeah, if you could get this type player for the 3rd overall pick, you do it? Or are you just like, no, that's the 3rd overall pick of the draft, don't trade that.
Why would you suck all here just to give that away? Yeah.
Like maybe Jason Robertson if he is truly available, but like other than that, I don't know. I just like I will always kind of hold on to like having that pick and taking that player and banking high on that guy because that guy might also be great trade bait for someone when someone more interesting becomes available. So I don't see it. The Blackhawks, it's gonna still be a couple more years till they're competitive. Like just focus on figuring out what the hell to do with Lucas Reichel first off and kind of go from there.
There's a guy in our chat that's a huge fan of Jake O'Brien. We'd be remiss if we didn't ask you about him and where he could fall here in this draft. Yeah.
Yeah, O'Brien's a great player. Like it feels like he had the quietest 98-point season in OHL history.
Yeah,
Like,
Nick Lardis, 70 goals. Yeah.
Well, when you have Nick Lardis, who I'm not sure will be an NHL player, having him to pass to is definitely. Nick Lardis is great at standing still and ripping shots. I'm not sure anybody in the Brantford Bulldogs organization thinks he's going to be a big NHL player. He doesn't move as well as he needs to. He just doesn't do a lot away from the puck. Like it feels like he needs to be on the power play to be dominant. But we'll see. He's from Oakville, Ontario, which is where I'm from. Like I remember watching him in a scrimmage before a junior A game when he was 10. So I love to see.
Play merchant.
Yeah,
We'll take it.
yeah, you don't think he could find himself a job in the league just making money off of being a power play one trick?
Yeah.
One NHL scout recently told me, who watches him a lot, he's like, he'll be a very good AHL All-Star player. So we'll see. We'll see. I would like to be wrong on that one.
Out. Yeah, I hope you're wrong about that one.
I fully hope I'm wrong on there. I'm not sure I am going to be wrong.
What do you think
Jake
about
O'Brien?
Blackhawks? Oh, sorry.
Yeah. O'Brien.
Yeah, O'Brien. Yeah.
Let's say O'Brien, he's really smart, just loves the puck on his stick. He can make things happen, battles hard. I think when we saw him at the OHL Top Prospects game, he was one of the best players in that entire game, and just it was great because it was on home ice for him. But really, just when the pressure's high, he seems to show up. So there were some points where I watched him where he'd get a couple points on the board. I'm like, I didn't love his game. It didn't feel like he was in the right place at the right time. And then a lot of those times when he didn't have the puck, he wasn't doing anything. So there's some minor concerns there, but nothing too crazy. I think you're still Jake O'Brien. If he went fifth, I'd be like, okay, I get it. I feel like he's probably going to fall more to that 7th to 9th area, but the team that takes him is going to be very happy.
Mm-hmm. This is another hypothetical question, but let's say somehow, some way, the Sharks get the guy they desire the most, Matthew Schaefer, and the Hawks get the guy they desire the most, Michael Misa. Which of those two teams you think has the brightest future if both those scenarios occur, which they probably won't, but you never know?
I like the San Jose Sharks more right now with the pipeline.
Okay.
First off, the Sharks, they should go after Mitch Marner this summer. That's my personal opinion. Celebrini is so smart. Get him someone who also is a smart player. And while Marner forgets that he's playing playoff hockey a lot, he's a damn good regular season player, and he's a damn good two-way player. So that'd be a good one for them. I think the one thing with the Sharks they're missing is just that high-end defenseman, and the Blackhawks do have that already. Mm-hmm. But I feel like the Celebrini Smith, Smith, I like more than Frankie Nazar. It's close, but I feel like, put it this way, they're both damn close. If the deciding factor, though, for me at this current point is the goaltender of the future. And I like Spencer Knight, but I like Yaroslav Askarov more. And I think that, and also not counting Knight a prospect anymore, but I think Askarov's looking pretty good, and that'd be good. But it's close. I'm just giving the edge because I feel like the guys on San Jose, I just like a bit more depth-wise. But if the Blackhawks could trade Korchinski and get another good forward in that system, I think that will go a long way.
Listening, Kyle?
Steven, you've been super generous with your time. Do you have any more prospect questions for him?
Yeah, I'd be remiss. It's not a draft question, but this is our boy. We're big fans of Roman Kanserov on this show. Maybe you're not sold on Nick Lardis. Are you sold on Roman Kanserov?
I like Nick Lardis, I think, more.
No.
What can I say about Kanserov? I really liked the way he kind of developed this season, that over double the points. I feel like there's some situations where I feel like the decision making takes a back seat towards trying to make a nice fancy play, but he's a good skater, doesn't really get engaged physically. I'm not too concerned about that. Good hockey sense, but he's not big, and I feel like that's something that could hurt him there. But we'll see. Putting up a lot of points as a small guy in the KHL is one thing. We'll see what he does in the NHL.
One more question, Steven. Bedard or Celebrini?
Celebrini's more well-rounded, but again, if I had to pick who's going to win you a game and in the dying seconds, it's Connor Bedard.
Thank you.
But I'll say this.
It's the best answer. Yeah, I mean, that was all we need to hear. We'll take this.
No, let him finish.
I'll say this. One of those two guys I think is going to make the Olympic team, and it's not Connor Bedard.
No,
don't take it personally.
That.
No, that's
No,
the motivation
okay.
he needs.
That's exactly
the motivation he needs.
That's
Don't take it
exactly
personally.
what
He's not gonna get hurt, though.
Tassos said. That's exactly what Tassos said.
He won't get hurt. Not showing up to the World Championship, I think, really hurt him because you looked at how good Celebrini played, and specifically with Crosby. We've all watched Sidney Crosby play a lot of hockey. I don't know if I've ever seen someone match the hockey sense and the hockey IQ of Crosby than when he was playing with Celebrini. Like, those two guys together were magic. Like, Crosby could play with anyone. He's played with so many good players, but they were making some of the best plays I've ever seen Crosby be a part of at the World Championship. So selling high, maybe. But I think if Hockey Canada is smart, you want to keep those two guys together because, yeah, Crosby could play with anyone, but they're going to be like two Einsteins out there beating everybody. So I think I'd like to see that happen. But not showing up to the World Championship, I think hurt Bedard.
I will say we've seen some offseason clips circling around. He's looking quite a bit quicker.
He does look
see.
quick. I mean, yeah, I think if he comes out in his like point per game this year, I think he'll make a case for himself. Do you think that like Hockey Canada would bring Celebrini and not Bedard though? Like if you're trying to like develop, maybe the future of Hockey Canada. Does it
was
make
there in
sense?
24,
Does
yeah.
it make sense to take Celebrini to the Olympics and not Connor Bedard?
If Celebrini doesn't play with Crosby, then I think Celebrini's your 13 forward. And then in that case, I like his all-around game more than Bedard. I think that's truly the case. Like, Bedard will be there 2030 no matter what, but there's so much Canadian depth that, like, unless Bedard has a super strong start, like, I don't know if they're going to go that young. I know Celebrini's younger. I don't know if they're going to want to have that many too many young guys on there. And I know they take the World Championship super seriously, and the roster, like, going there, the fact that he like declined, I don't think helps him fully. That's a more of a personal opinion, but a lot of people I think agree in that it's like him declining really was not the right thing to do.
Yeah, I think he's more focused on his NHL game.
Yeah. But I will say it was also stupid that he was like the 13th forward like the year before.
Thank you.
That made no sense. He was Canada's best player.
Yeah,
Canada's best player. I have no idea what they were doing then. So I understood why he declined, but then when he declined and Celebrini looks as good as he did when he's a bubble guy too, it's like that doesn't help.
Hindsight,
I think
probably didn't
Canada
expect Crosby to show up there.
I think
I'm
Canada
kidding.
should bring like a Robert Thomas or a Dylan Strome over either of them. To be honest with you, if they're like serious about actually winning.
You're speaking from a Team USA standpoint.
No, I'm not.
Yeah.
I mean, would you rather Macklin Celebrini than Robert Thomas right now? Maybe. I don't think I would.
I think I would.
Really?
Celebrini over Thomas right now?
Really?
Yeah, I would do it. Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah. Because like I think that how smart of a player he is just it's not appreciated enough. Like, it was fun watching him sitting there talking to McKinnon and talking to Crosby and learning from them. And it's like I feel like, and he was using what they were saying to go out there and dominate. Like Celebrini is, if he wasn't in San Jose, would get way more attention for just how dominant of a player he's going to be. Like, he's going to be a superstar player in the NHL, just like Connor Bedard, but in totally different ways. Like, Bedard could outskill anybody in the league.
Mm-hmm.
I was part of a thing where he did a photo shoot, and I was the goalie, and he was taking shots on me, Bedard, and turns out he could shoot.
Yeah.
Well.
What was that like?
How many of those? You grabbed?
Painful. Which is, yeah, like he's like clearly he's got all the skill in the world. It's just like he's not as well rounded, and I feel like at a certain point, Hockey Canada is going to look for the like. They brought a super skilled team to the Four Nations face-off, and there aren't a lot of players on that roster that I think aren't still in the running to make the team. So then you've got to just be perfect to take one of those extra spots. There is one more forward spot than there was at that Four Nations tournament, but you got to be really, really damn good to make that work. And Bedard's going to have to be so strong. And I'm saying that as like, I was a massive Bedard defender this year when people were criticizing him. I think he's still a superstar. It's just not yet.
How about Frick Nazar leading Team USA and production there in the Worlds? Yeah.
He was so good. He was awesome.
Yeah.
It was like watching him at the World Juniors like 2 years ago when he was just getting assist after assist. It's like this time it was goals. It's like, man, he was on my tournament all-star ballot for sure.
Yeah, could you see that guy being like an all-star, like a real piece?
He was definitely a great pick. I'll say that. I'm not even totally sure what point or like kind of how high of a player he's going to be, but like someone brought up the idea to me recently, could he be on this Olympic team in 26? I'm like, no. But 2030, he's absolutely going to be in the running for it. Like he was, what a great selection that was. And for a guy who in his first year of college barely played.
Mm-hmm.
So I like him.
Steven, we really appreciate the time and you coming on. I know we asked you a lot. We're just very excited to talk to you because
big fans.
Our chat really loves prospect talk, and they're always oinking at us and demanding it. So they were very happy that you came on. Thanks for being so generous with your time again, and we'll have to talk to you again next year.
Yeah, have a good one.
Yeah, thank you, Steven.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll say, I hope Hawks fans have a reason to stop paying attention to prospects.
Please. Amen. Amen to that.
We want it bad.
Yeah, we miss playing hockey this time of year. Yeah.
All right, everyone. That was Stephen Ellis. We're really happy that he came on.
Oh yeah, great interview.
And he's slandering some of the guys, the Lardises and the Cancerovs, but I don't know. I just hope that that those two guys can prove them wrong.
Yeah, I know Cancerov follows the show, so yeah, I'll send him that clip, and hopefully he'll take it personally.
Yeah. What did you guys make, Nolan? You two, what did you guys make of he does seem to be higher on Martone and Higgins than Frundell and Denoy. Like clearly he just said he's updating his final draft rankings to have Martone at 3. It's like,
yeah, look, we're not the prospect experts. He is, and he's telling you that those guys are better. Like, I don't know.
It's just troublesome. And Nolan, I don't know how you feel about this, but it's troublesome for me to say I've been saying what he was saying, but for the guy who's doing the work, the guy who's
scouting these guys,
who knows
doing his homework, and he's saying it too. It validates what we've been saying.
To say that Martone is like the third best player there, it's like that's exactly what the Blackhawks need. All those attributes that Stephen Ellis just described. Is that not like a little concerning, Nolan, that we're still talking about Frundell instead of him at 3?
I do put a little bit of concern on that. I do think that Martone is in that conversation for number 3 with Higgins. I don't think Frundell is in the conversation to be the third best player in this draft. The more and more I look at it, it's Martone or Higgins, and I think that's what Kyle should be looking at, and Kyle and the rest of the scouts. But who am I to judge? I'm just a guy behind a microphone right now.
Fair.
That's fair.
Yeah.
And it's obviously we're just gonna have to wait and see. I know I've made it clear on the show that I there's not a shred of doubt for me that it's Frundell at 3. I just I feel like I've already seen it.
Yeah, I know. I'm kind of with you. I'm sort of accepted at this point. We're in the acceptance stage. I've been studying up more tape too, just trying to warm myself up to it. Like I was last year when it looked like they were leaning Levshunov or Demonov. Like, fair enough. All right, well, let's just see the logic here. So we'll see. At the end of the day, we're in a spinning vortex, and the world's everything's going to explode one day anyway. We're all not going to be here. So at the end of the day, it is what it is, right? You can only take so much stock in it.
Yeah, and it did bum me out hearing how he just had no faith or belief that there would be a trade with the pick.
Yeah, that
moving
too.
up
Yeah,
or
he's
down.
like, I don't know about that one. Yeah, that's insiders, looking to, stir the pot there. But we'll see. You never know.
I think I had, less faith in talking about Lardis and Cancerov personally, because I'm a big believer in both of them. I think Cancerov, really transformed his game in the KHL this year.
Yeah.
He had similar point per game numbers to number 5 overall pick, Ivan Demonov, and everyone, is talking about Demonov. But there's similar numbers with Roman Cancerov, and I'm a big Roman Cancerov defender, as the chat does know. And Lardis too, you see the 70 goals. You really wanted to succeed, but
he was a 19-year-old in juniors. But I still think he could be an NHL player. Maybe not a star, but like second unit power play merchant. I don't know.
Yeah.
Drop 20 goals, something. I don't know. Who knows?
Put him on that right circle and just let him rip that shot.
Just let him be a power play merchant. As for the trade thing, Kyle's going to try. Like we always see that after these drafts. Oh, Kyle tried to move up for this pick and was rejected. At the very minimum, he's going to try to make a trade, but will it go through? Probably not, but we'll see.
And it hasn't worked out the past couple of years, but we know that he's tried, and I think he's got all the assets, and I just feel like this year it's significantly more likely to happen this year than
hopefully he'll understand it now and make it happen.
Especially with teams like Utah considering picking guys like Brady Martin. That was another thing. I didn't say it, but I feel like James Hagan's sliding is like completely possible in this draft.
Which
Like,
makes no sense to me.
Which is crazy because that's who, like coming into this year, that was
We
the
thought that was the
consensus
guy. Yeah,
first
maybe
overall
he cooled
guy.
off a little bit, but are we forgetting how dominant this guy was in the World Juniors? Like, I don't get it, man. I
Now
don't
it
get
feels like if Nashville don't take him at 5, you know, he could
He could drop
slide.
to Philly or Boston. That's,
Yeah,
that's insane.
Yeah.
That makes no sense to me. I don't know. Yeah.
Well, all right. I mean, we're over 2 hours.
I think we're good.
That
We've
was
given the piggies their prospect talk.
Yeah.
I will say one more thing. The NHL buyout window has opened. Well, actually, in the next 48 hours they're open, so we only have to worry about TJ Brody being a Blackhawk for at least another 2 days. So hopefully in the Friday show we'll be able to break down the TJ Brody buyout. I think we're all looking forward to that one.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll talk about the buyout of TJ Brody.
Really excited for that.
For
Yeah.
25 minutes.
If it's
I
not
think
within the
we can
first
make that
5
the
minutes of the
entire
window.
Hawks hour, right? TJ Brody buyout and just getting the ramifications of that. But yeah, no, W show today. W Nolan, second show.
Yeah,
W
thank you,
Natalie
thank you,
making her
guys.
debut. And just, yeah, W Stephen Ellis, really. Just, and W Panthers as well. Yeah.
W Panthers, big W Panthers.
W. Seth Jones.
W Seth Jones Cup.
All right,
Wow,
I think
Seth
that's
Jones, the Cup champion for Bedard. Utter woke nonsense.
I think
Yeah.
that's going to do it for today. Thank you guys so much for watching, listening. If you're watching on YouTube right now, please like this video for us and subscribe to the YouTube channel if you haven't yet. Follow the Instagram at Chicago Hockey Radio, as well as the X account and the TikTok, all the same, Chicago Hockey Radio. And then if you listen to us on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, please give us a 5-star rating and review. Thanks so much for listening. We will see you guys later in the week. Peace.